Well, it as you know, the family is gathering at Balmoral because something has or is about to happen with the Queen, and as per protocol, they have the BBC and other agencies, news agencies. They are wearing the black ties. In some cases, they're wearing all black. And well, as we know so far, that there is obviously uh, things have changed. There was supposed to be a meeting of the Privy Council and such, where the Queen was actually supposed to be involved in that meeting, and she wasn't. And then, of course, other things. And I have to say, the other day, I was absolutely startled by the Queen's appearance when she met with Liz Truss. And I said to myself at that time, that things are progressing, obviously progressing, and that it would be any time now. And still, you don't know because we always assume that the Queen is getting the best of everything, and for so many of us that we don't know a time when she wasn't the Queen or when she wasn't here for that matter. So um, I had predicted some time ago that the for some of us, the two biggest things that we'll see come out of that household in the near future will be a funeral, a state funeral, followed by a coronation. And then after that, there will be the long silence, the usual events like Trooping the Color and the odd wedding of other family members. But so yeah, this next 12 months is really going to put Britain on the world stage because of the likely passing or possible passing of the Queen today, as well, or perhaps last night, as well as the fact that Charles may actually be king now. So, um, and the other thing that I said some time ago is the fact that whether you're a royalist or not, whether you still have a positive feeling about the royal family in any way, that this is something that's going to reverberate around the globe because of the history of the moment. It is a very historical moment. And so today, someone asked me, they said, well, um, what has she done? And I'm going to leave that to the commentators from BBC and and the rest of them. I think that at a certain point, well, not I think, I know at a certain point, I simply had to turn the sound down because they were repeating the same talking points over and over again. And I just wasn't sure if I could take that any longer, only because, it's like with any other event, not just for today, but any other event. There's only so many times you can tell the same story, and really the world is just waiting until it's official. But yeah, we don't know yet. We don't know. There hasn't been an official word, and I have been, monitoring like everybody else. I've been monitoring, and today I thought I was going to talk about something different, obviously, and then and this is what happened. So at best, I'm going to say that the Queen may be at this point very near. And then, of course, there are people who say is that because of the London Bridge Protocol and that certain mechanism seems to have been kicked into place already, that it has already happened. So, but this is what we have been told so far is that the the Duchess of Sussex and the Duchess of Cambridge have remained in Windsor. Of course, Meghan is at their place. Even now, I choke saying the name of it, but at their place. And of course, the Duchess of Cambridge is waiting for the kid. Well, with caring for the kids right now. So we don't know if Archie and Lily has made this trip. They're. I don't even want to speculate about that because of security reasons. But for whatever reason, Harry, who is still a council of the state, as far as I know, he is still a council of the state, which means that in the absence of the Queen, senior royals like Harry, like William, and in particular Charles, and I believe that extends to the rest of the Queen's children, they can work on her behalf in certain situations, which is why you will see Charles and William honoring people with those OBEs and CBEs and such. So there is still a constitutional role for Prince Harry to fulfill as a senior royal, and he and both the duchesses are and continue to be senior royals. He's still an HRH, and so he has a role to fulfill. And he decided, or they decided, that he would go alone. And so arrangements are obviously being made. But as most of us on this channel are old enough and we have witnessed passings of our loved ones, then of course we know that certain things happen, and there's that period in which it when we just don't know whether or not I'll just say this: she may be in a coma right now. She may not be verbal right now. There's that possibility, and then the shallow breathing and such. It's a lot to speculate on, and so I won't go any further than that. But 96 years old, 96 years old, and 96 is just that. It's 96, and the Queen has had some health problems that have been a mystery for quite some time, and they haven't divulged anything. She's been in the hospital overnight on at least 2 occasions I could think of, and so again, like I said, the other day when I saw her, I was completely startled by her appearance. So we wait. We just wait. And I don't have anything more than that to add as far as whether or not she is already transitioned. Now, as you can see there is one of the news presenters there. He's wearing his black tie. So and then of course the lady there, whoever she is, she's wearing black. So so I advise you guys to just be respectful. I mean, we have our fun with the whole royal family here, and today is just not one of those days. And that is Harry's grandmother, and as we respect his feelings about his family, and that has to include his granny, because if you guys remember, they were in Balmoral when they received the news about Princess Diana. They were up there for the summer, and so the Queen has actually received Liz Truss to ask her to form a government in the Queen's behalf. And of course, that is one of those things that usually takes place south. And I believe in the past she's actually traveled south and gone back. I'm not sure about that, but I believe she has. But this time, Liz Truss went to the incoming prime minister went to see the Queen. No changing of the guard ceremony today. So that may mean that there is a period of mourning that is taking place quietly and discreetly, or it just doesn't seem to be the right atmosphere. Is Harry driving by himself? I don't know. I don't know how he's getting there. As a matter of fact, let me see. Well, not this one just yet, but I guess I can. So, Queen's News Live, Prince Harry heads to Balmoral without Meghan as Charles, William, and Monarch's immediate family gather at her bedside amid concerns for her health. What's missing from that statement, of course, is the fact that they didn't mention the Duchess of Cambridge. Now, it has been said in various places that that Harry has gone by himself, Meghan stayed behind, but they neglected to mention in most places that actually the Duchess of Cambridge has not gone up there. And I think it's really interesting, and it's very telling that even at a moment like this, as you can see here, this was first thing this morning. Let me take myself out the way here. This was first thing this morning. Harry and Meghan head to Scotland as Charles, William, and Queen's immediate family gather at her bedside in Balmoral after concerned doctors keep her under medical supervision. Now, I think let me say this. If she has transitioned already, it would be awfully ghoulish to say that the doctors are at her bedside. And, so I want to think that she is actually just barely there. Okay. I will say that she's probably just barely there. But I think it would be really ghoulish to say that there's a bedside vigil, if she has already passed. I mean, there would be no logical reason to pretend that she's being tended to by doctors, or at the very least monitored by doctors, if she's already died. So I don't know. I don't know that makes sense, if you know what I mean. So I've heard people say, oh, well, it's already happened. Well, then there's death, and then there's near death. And when a person has, especially at that advanced age, has slipped into a certain state to the likes of which there is no recovery, and of course, given their prior health, then why not call people together? And as I said, we've lost loved ones. Some of us have lost loved ones, and we gathered. The hospital calls and they say, you need to get up here, or, it's getting to that point, or perhaps our family members. So it doesn't mean that she is absolutely deceased at this point. So I think that would kind of be jumping the gun a bit, if you will. That's when they call it, and whatever they say is official, I don't think it matters either way, whether or not we can say, oh, well, it's already happened. I will wait for official word. Kim Fields says the best way to deal with these next few weeks is to only watch our trusted Sussex Squad YouTubers. I refuse to watch the mainstream media, especially the British TV. So, Baron, drink your coffee. We are counting on you. I appreciate that, Kim Fields, and I promise I'm going to do the best I can and share information as I gather it and as it deems important, because man, it is and I have a friend that I lost a couple years ago. No, it's been about a year. And I told him, I said, we may never see a a coronation in our lifetime. And he was like, are you serious? Well, of course, he was in his 70s. And I told him, I said, well, her mother lived to 101. There's no reason to believe that. Oh, by the way, Kim Fields, thank you for having a membership and watching Royal Sussex. There's no reason to believe that she won't make it as far and maybe even better. Um, so, if she lived another 10 years, then my friend, who himself was in not the greatest of health, would have been in his 80s when the Queen passed, if that was the case. So, yeah, there's a lot of people who have, and that's really amazing to think of, that there's a lot of people who have lived and died and will never have seen a coronation. So, as you know, at a certain time, I was such an Anglophile. I mean, very much an Anglophile. And I would say I am still an Anglophile. I really get a kick out of history. And one of my reasons for loving history so much is because it tells a story. And I love a good story. And as they say, art imitates life and so on. Some of these stories are, uh, you know, they're great stories. They're great stories. And so for that reason, I have, followed a lot of this stuff uh, through PBS television and such for as long as I can remember. And it's, but the real connection started with Princess Diana. And I say again, if it wasn't for Princess Diana, then my love for all things British that I had for such a long time would have probably never happened. But in the last few years, it has shifted. I've had my eyes open, and I feel differently about it. But that is still Harry's grandmother. That is still Harry's grandmother. Let's see. Black Jack says the palace has so many protocols. I wouldn't be surprised if she already passed. All the UK newscasters are wearing black. Yeah, I mean, Black Jacks, that is a very good indication that it has happened, but it also may mean that they have, they don't want them to have to make any announcements in anything but black. So, one of the things that has changed since that policy has kicked into place is that we're now in the 24-hour news cycle. And so, given the way things are with the news cycles nowadays, would it be any great surprise if, they would say, well, just, put this on, it switched to your black outfit. The other thing about the black outfits is that when the Queen's father died, she was in Africa. And when she made her way back to the UK, she had to wait on the plane until they brought her something appropriate, which I think they gave her an overcoat, which was black, to wear to, make her way back to Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle, whichever. And at that point, instead of bringing her car to the airport, they brought the hearses, as she referred to it, which means, of course, they sent her father's state car, which at that point, of course, was the Queen's state car, because at that point she stepped off the plane, she was already the Queen. So let's see. Let me see. Duchess Anne has stepped away from her live prayers. Oh, it's okay. Let me see. All right. Let me see here. Hi, Baron and Squatty. It's been a while. I'm just popping. Letitia Malone. Just popping in to say my thoughts are with the Sussexes. It's never easy to lose family member, regardless of how we feel. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you guys, just plain and simple, my primary concern when I woke up this morning was the Sussexes. Whatever else is going on, I'm only thinking about Meghan and Harry at this point. I'm only thinking about the Sussexes and their children and Doria. Um, the rest of them, they have everything that they need in place and have for a long time. But I just don't want any mistreatment or any misunderstandings or whatever where the Sussexes are concerned. I feel like they've suffered enough. They've been through a horrendous time because of the way the Queen's age has been constantly weaponized and used against them. The other thing I'm looking at is I'm watching the flag at the Buckingham Palace. So the flag is up, and this is one thing that I want you guys to realize is that the flag is up in place, and of course, and this, and still they say under medical supervision. So as long as the flag is up, then that means that the Queen may still be alive. So I know the thing about the black ties and the black suits is a thing, but that should not lead you to believe that it's anything more than what they've said it is so far. And so far, I'm looking at a live footage. The flag at the Buckingham Palace is still flying. So there will be no reason to tell us otherwise. So I'm going to say, based on that, that she's likely nearing the end, and I'll leave it there because it does. We don't have to, and I'm sorry if this is offensive to anybody, but we don't have to be the first to say it, or I knew it, or it's not necessary. As they say, death and taxes are inevitable. We all are going to pay taxes, and death is something that will find everyone. So there's no rush. There's no rush. The Queen is 96 years old. Is it 96, 97, 96, 97 years old? And when she's called to her glory, then she's called to her glory. But there's no need to rush to be the first to say it, or I absolutely knew it. None of that really matters right now. Yeah, it just let them make the announcement in their timing. As I said, the flag is still flying, full mast, full staff, mast, whichever is adequate. And so I'm going to assume that the Queen is still alive. I mean, that is a protocol. So she may be nearing the end. And the fact that people have, mobilized what we have known as the London Bridge doesn't mean that that time has already come. So let's just wait until they say otherwise. Oh, here's an announcement.
Best wishes to Her Majesty the Queen, and that she and the royal family are in our thoughts and prayers at this moment.
Okay, so that was from the House of Parliament.
Addressing the House.
So they are just offering their thoughts and prayers. Again, I'm still looking at the flag. As a matter of fact, one of the things that they are featuring on television is the flag, which, of course, is that indication as to whether or not the Queen is still alive. Okay, so there you have William driving. You have, oh dear God, they're sitting in protocol. William is driving. Andrew is in the passenger seat. And of course, Sophie and Edward is in the back seat. Now, this is actually part of a motorcade. It's not as though the unguarded car just left from the airport and drove over to Balmoral. They went with a bunch of aides and everything. There was an unmarked plane, a jet, a 3-engine jet that flew up to Aberdeen Airport, and then they, and also, if you guys have been watching earlier today, it is interesting that they were saying earlier that the Sussexes were on their way to Scotland. And again, it is just incredible that even at a moment like this, with all of this going on, they would actually say that, oh, Harry and Meghan are on their way up there. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex. You would think, you would think that they would, take their gaze off of Harry and Meghan for just 5 minutes today, but they have not. They have not. Nalisa says, I am just worried about the Sussexes because those tabloids have no chill. Absolutely. Thank you. That's just what I said. They have not removed their gaze from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, even at a moment of potential loss like this. It is all Sussex all the time. So again, you guys, don't be in a rush to call it. Let's just wait and see what the official word is. It won't make a difference to anybody involved whether or not we can say, "Oh, I knew it." Oh, I don't like. I knew it. Let's just wait. At least for that amount. Oh yes, Iris Demone. Yeah, I just saw the press conference. I saw that was in place. On my screen, well, you know what? I'm looking at one of the British news services, and they already like cut away from it. So again, you guys, let's please be respectful with our comments today because that's Harry's grandma. That's Harry's grandma. So let's be respectful. All right. And I think that these three ladies right here are pretty much feeling what a lot of people are. And trust and believe, you guys, whatever you think, this is going to be one for the history books. It's going to be one for the history books. And so let's hope that the derangers and the the haters, that they will lay down their swords for today, and just first of all, let's focus on the Sussexes, and then everybody else kind of falls in place from that point, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, let me so there's Philip, and that is, I believe, the last official photograph of the Queen and Philip, or one of the last, and that was, of course, at about the time when Philip, it may have been Philip's birthday, but I know Philip was at that point at age 95 when when he stepped back from official duty, and he moved to Wood Farm, and he may or may not have been alone there. Probably not. And from that point, the Queen began to go on these official calls, either by herself, sometimes with Sophie. I think quite rare. I don't know that she's ever Black Queen. We don't know yet. Now, I just kind of went on and on about that. The flag at Buckingham Palace, and as you know, that is part of the protocol. If the flag is flying high, then of course no one has died, or the Queen hasn't died yet. Let's see. Let me see here. I'm waiting for official word. And when that comes, then then I'm going to say, oh, are they announcing it now? Let me see here. Let me put some volume on. I'm just simply trying to be respectful. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to be respectful, but give me a chance to, oh dear God, which one of them I want to listen to right now? Oh, I'm sorry, let me, okay.
Tomorrow. This will clearly come.
Okay, I see it now.
Devastating news for the royal family and millions of people across the United Kingdom and around the world. Queen Elizabeth II was a much loved and respected monarch and a truly unique figure on the world stage, a head of state without equal, admired not just here in the United Kingdom, but across the globe by members of the public, politicians, and religious leaders. Many of us will simply not remember a time when she wasn't our head of state, and she was a constant figure in every aspect of national life. From becoming queen when she was only 25, she then went on to become Britain's longest reigning monarch and displayed this unwavering commitment to her country and her Commonwealth throughout what was a truly record-breaking reign. Now, her dedication to that constitutional role was never questioned, but her family were just as important to her as a devoted wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. And their admiration for her was always so clearly seen when she was surrounded by her family, when we saw those moments of great national celebration and reflection. It's worth saying that for many, her reign will forever be defined by what was a selfless sense of duty. But it wasn't about her own personal power, privilege, or entitlement. This was a role that she felt that she was born to fulfill. Her quiet and restrained demeanour was always guiding her family and the United Kingdom through what was an extraordinary period of social and political change. But throughout all of that, she was always conscious of keeping the monarchy relevant, and while respecting as well and upholding important traditions, she often showed this adaptability that many will now credit with securing the future of the institution. It is worth saying that her old age really should not detract from the enormity of this news and the huge constitutional change that her death now brings. For nearly 70 years, she was this symbol of stability and continuity, and for so many, always a figure of national pride who really embodied those values of public service and duty well into her 90s, and as we saw this week, until the very end. Now, the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth realms will witness a period of reflection and constitutional change, which many of us will never have experienced in our lifetime, as we now mourn the death of Queen Elizabeth II and witness the succession of her son as the new king.
And Rhiannon, we last saw Her Majesty the Queen in public, of course, just 2 days ago. And she asked Liz Truss to form a government to become 15th Prime Minister.
Okay. It is official, you guys. And yes, Diane Hawkins, I was actually watching the flag at Buckingham Palace. The particular channel that I was watching was the one from Buckingham Palace, and that's the one that I was watching. But And I thank you guys for making it clear that they were making the announcement presently, because I let me see. Before his birthday, and his mother 2 weeks before his birthday. Very sad. Oh, Lydia, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Harry does have a birthday coming. Harry does have a birthday coming. Okay, there's my phone. I'm going to have people chiming in or texting or whatever for a while. Let me see. Okay. Okay, guys, please keep your comments respectful. Please keep your comments respectful. There's no need, no point, and is not the right time for those kind of conversations. So please keep your comments respectful. This is, of course, Balmoral. This is probably a very wide angle view of Balmoral Castle. This was actually purchased by Queen Victoria, or was it Prince Albert who purchased it? That's the sprawling estate up in Scotland. There's that log cabin back there that we didn't know that the Queen had, and this, this is where the closest family has gathered. So, okay, and let's see, 12:30 our time here, must be about 6:30 p.m. in the UK, I think. So that's the time. Yeah. I'm gonna open it up for conversation. Again, I'm going to insist that you guys keep it very, very respectful. And yeah, so that's the link right there. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. No pegging today. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. And I caution you all to be respectful. But yes, again, I'll pin it to the top of the chat. And my concern is for the Sussexes. And I am going to say or do or whatever within my power to make sure that they are protected. That means more to me than anything else. Miss VSN, thank you so much for being the first to chime in. What are your thoughts and feelings today?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
I just wanted to be sure you're able to hear me.
Uh-oh, now I can't hear you. Yep, now I cannot hear you. Oh, Miss VSN, are you still there? Well, when you can, maybe try the link again. Let me see. This is how God works. The Sussexes are in the UK. Amen to that, Jermaine. You know what, Jermaine Gray, I said to myself, there is no way in the world that Harry is going to be that close to his grandmother and not visit her. And also, I would like to point out that even though I didn't say anything at the time, or maybe I did say that he was thinking about his grandmother, while Harry was in the UK, while visiting with the for the kickoff for the Invictus games, I was very certain that at that time that Prince Harry's thoughts was obviously with his grandmother. And I couldn't think of any other possible reason why he could be that publicly visible and has not and wasn't. I would say, as I said, he was in his thoughts, and I'm going to leave it at that. I said he was in his thoughts. Miss Ronnie, go ahead. How are you today?
Hey, Baron. Hey, squaddies. I gotta ask the question. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, first off, Baron, I'm getting ready for work, and of course, I've got Royal Sussex on in the background, and I honestly, I was really hoping that the news that came down would have, at least for whatever reason, would have just waited another day. I don't know why. But I just want to say my deepest condolences to Harry on the loss of his grandmother. And also the thing that makes me sad is that for whatever faults anybody may have found or felt about Her Majesty, there was a moniker of integrity about her. And what makes me sad is the fact that with her passing, it also goes the chance of any type of reconciliation. I mean, I'm sure Her Majesty had a good rapport with Harry and Meghan and her grandchildren. But if there would have been just a little bit more time, perhaps with more interaction and perhaps with more involvement, the vitriol and the hatred that was focused on these two people, hopefully maybe that would have calmed down. And now without her as a filter, I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I'm going to believe, and I thought about this yesterday, that as they were saying that the two brothers were only 380 feet apart, and I don't know that anything could have been repaired in that amount of time, or if it should. But I would think that someone would have reached out. I mean, when you can, be that close to someone, what is that? That's about the length of what, a football field, right? About 380 feet. I would think at that point that someone may have reached out, and we may hear about that later. And a lot of these things may happen, and we don't hear about it at all. So, that's just the way these things go. And whether or not that is the case, then we'll hear about it later. We certainly won't hear about it now. But of course, there's going to be all of this imagery from the funeral and such, and then they're going to pick that apart and speculate over it. So we'll find out later whether this is the possibility of uniting anybody, but we'll find out. So I wouldn't say that it was all lost, but maybe in her lifetime she just didn't get a chance to see that reconciliation. But then again, it wouldn't be the first time that there's been that type of divide, and there doesn't ever seem to be any type of reconciliation. So if these things do happen, then they're behind the scenes, and we are not likely to be privileged to it. Well, Ms. Ronnie, I thank you so much. I have a couple of people in the holding pattern. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, real fast, Baron. Just to add on to what you were saying was that, it always, when we think about it, that, the royal family is just like anybody else, except for the fact that they have a crown. And if, these type of reconciliations, cannot happen in just the layman's term, lay people. I don't know why we think that it would have happened and stuff like that, because I guess because there's so much focus on them that it's a thing of human nature that we would want to see the betterment of that. But at the end of the day, they're just like regular people. And before I go, Baron, I just want to I want to commend you on your broadcasting, and also just to say, God bless you for just trying to keep things civil, because this conversation could go everywhere, but you have just been the pillar of good taste and decorum, and kudos to you, Baron. And all right, squaddies, have a great day, and Baron, thank you for this time. Bye.
All right, thank you for checking in with us. I appreciate it. Miss VSN, you are back. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, I had to jump on my phone for whatever reason. My headset doesn't like the computer, vice versa. So, before my dog starts barking, I just wanted to come up. So of course, rest in peace. I'm going to be very civil for at least the next 24 hours or so. And my heart and energy, as I said on my live stream earlier, goes out to Harry, Meghan, the children, Doria. So the rest of them, they'll mourn in the way that they mourn, but this has been like a chess game for them. So Charles has finally gotten what he has longed for his lifetime. So we shall see how King Charles, or whatever he will be named, shall be. And I hope the media chills and leaves Harry and Meghan alone. But we know that probably won't happen.
Yeah, again, that is my focus, is on the Sussexes. The rest of them, I give them the same cordial respect I would give anybody else, but I'm here to protect the Sussexes.
Yeah, that was my first.
And then we work our way out from there.
Exactly. Like this morning, I was actually kind of surprised CNN dedicated so much time to that she was sick, and I was just trying to get an understanding. I'm like, if the palace has made an announcement, it must be much worse than they're leading us to believe. So, right. It was just a matter of time. But I think we'll behave as long as the media behaves, put it that way. We'll let them have their mourning period, but it really is about Harry. And, I just hope Squad doesn't get into anything behind this, if you know what I'm saying. So,
right.
There's always the different camps.
I do hope everybody, like I said earlier, put their knives away for the day.
Yeah.
And, let's put our focus where it belongs, and just be fair to everybody involved. But that's what I'm hoping, is that everybody will put their knives away for the day, because the urge to say and do certain things has its place, but and then of course we don't want to do a disservice to Prince Harry,
right?
Because we are representing the Sussexes, and even though we're
the
not
media,
paid,
exactly, the media will use that to tear them down. So at least give this time frame at least 24 hours before we really start cutting up, which I said I was going to try to do. But in a way, the show goes on also for us, because we are Sussex supporters. So
exactly.
I'm sure there will be many that will be like, oh, well, why are you doing? Because we're not going to stop. But just, the show goes on, basically. So
yeah,
I just wanted to come up and say hi.
Oh, thank you. I don't think anybody in the Sussex squad has hate or malice, and certainly we don't target people the way we have been targeted. That's just not the way we roll. But we, some of us are street fighters.
That's very true. So I haven't been back to Twitter yet, so I'm sure once I go out and check the Twitter sphere, I'll be seeing a lot more where I'm going to be like, "Woo, let me just close the bird app for the day and go on."
Quiet this morning. I was looking for, whatever information, and Twitter was very
It was very
quiet.
quiet, which
So,
was very strange to me. I was glad in one aspect, but it was very strange. I mean, you have those one-offs here and there, but
oh
I mean,
yeah, I
everybody's
saw
right to
those.
their
I saw
opinion.
those.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay,
They're
well,
telling you to
I
put
do thank you so much.
they're telling you to put the troll blocker on too, just so you see your chat.
Well, I set it back for a month
Oh gosh.
already, but yeah,
Is
I
it that
set it back
bad?
for a month. I did that. Well, yeah, but it still is, and really, honestly, I'm not so worried about the trolls as I am about the squatties.
Oh,
Being caught up in
yeah.
their feelings.
hmm
So again, I ask you guys to please be
Just be
respectful
nice. Yeah.
um, today. So yeah, I wasn't actually so worried, but yeah, I did set it
Right.
back a
Oh,
month.
okay.
I was doing
Okay.
a week, and I was doing a month, and then I started doing a week, and then I guess I went
Right.
back
You
to
just went.
the
You
month
just said, "Let me
again.
just do a
But
month." And oh,
yeah, I
okay.
got a lot of
Yeah.
hate listeners that are
Uh,
devoted to
I'm
hate,
seeing some of
and
that, just a little bit.
yeah, they will buy their time, and when it looks like it's clear,
They
then
pounce.
they pounce.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I am glad, and I've said this, and I know you've said it probably, that I'm glad the timing was that they were overseas in that part of the
Uh-huh.
globe, and not in California. So it's just the stars aligned for that, because then Harry was able to get where he needed to be and keep some of the fodder down, so to speak. So
Uh-huh.
you know. He loved her dearly,
Exactly.
and we do have to remember, regardless of what we're seeing on the outside, he loved her dearly. So, and I know how I felt about my grandmother. So, yeah. But all right,
Right.
I'm gonna drop down and go back to the clouds and space station, and you take care of yourself. Take care, everybody in
All
the
righty.
chat.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it,
I
and we will
appreciate
be in
you.
touch soon.
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Bye.
All right. You as well. Thank you. Hello, Karen. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah, hi squatties. What a day. Okay.
Yes.
Do you know if Harry made it?
I don't. I did not get any word about that.
Yeah, they keep saying he's on
I
his
know
they
that
keep
there
saying
was
he's
a
on his
plane and they
way,
thought,
but
pardon?
they keep saying he's on his way, but they never said if if he got there.
Yeah, I would imagine that at this point,
Mm-hmm.
um, that the news would not really, as they're making announcements, I think that they would hopefully take a break from that part of the reporting
Yeah,
and focus on the announcements.
yeah. And
What do you
I
think?
think also also they don't want to announce much on Harry anyway. Yeah.
Right.
So his security thing, he had to get that in place for him to travel anyway. So, and not have his wife there as well too because of their security situation. So,
Well, I mean, to be
yeah.
fair though, both duchesses did not travel north. Both of them stayed in Windsor. So
Mhm.
we're gonna be
Yeah,
fair today, Karen. We can have the
mhm.
conversations another time, but
Yeah.
we're gonna be
No, no, no.
fair today.
I understand. I understand that, but I'm just talking with Harry's situation, and having to travel around in the UK, he has to think even as his security first, right?
Right,
Because he doesn't have the same as he had before, right? So
right. But
like all that has to be put in place. So that's
at the
why,
same
yeah.
time, Harry would not uh, be there if his security was compromised. So
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So
that's
that's
why
why,
I've been saying for the longest, trust Harry's judgment. And if he
yeah.
thought that going to the UK for the whale child and the other
Mm-hmm.
things, that it was a proper place for them to be there, then
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to trust his judgment. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure he's okay today.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, no,
sure he's okay.
I'm sure. I mean, to say they had to make a pivot. So, like all that still has to be in place. My thing is, I'm glad that, he's there. I'm glad that they're there, that, this is happening and he's close. He was close to his grandmother. And it's just surreal that it happened that way. But, I'm just glad that he's there. And when this happened.
Well, as I mentioned about him being well, not just while he was in Manchester, and also being in Germany, I was wondering, okay, he seems to be in his thoughts, which
Right.
may have been mistaken as him not being happy by people who would prefer to look at it like that.
Yeah.
But I figured that the Queen was gravely ill, and that photo that
Right.
they
Yes.
released with Liz Truss, her eyes were very glassy, and I also noticed that the photo was particularly grainy in that, as though they didn't want you to really see much.
Yeah. So it appears like it appears like like he knew something before.
Exactly.
Today. Yeah. So that was my thought as well too. I mean, it's she's lived a long life, and we all know that there was a queen and a monarchy and stuff like that. And I must be honest, the impact is not the same as I guess Princess Diana, because hers was different, so it's like a different impact where I'm concerned.
Yeah. And of course, given
Yeah.
Diana's age, and Diana
Exactly. Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah. The impact is not the same. It's not
for
the same
lack
at
of a
all.
better
So
word,
that's
Diana
just
wasn't
my
supposed to die so young, but
exactly.
and it
Exactly.
did
Yeah.
happen, and it was just a shock to
Exactly.
everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like that's my my view on it. It doesn't impact me that way at all. So, but
Right,
the respect is there, right?
right.
And just like anyone lose, I lost my grandmother as well too. The respect is there, but it's just different.
Yes,
You know.
very much so.
So
Well, okay, Karen,
yeah.
thank you
Anyway,
so much, and I appreciate you checking in with us. All right. Charles says it's already been announced that London Bridge has fallen. Check the local news. It's been reported ASAP. Oh, you know what? I haven't scrolled in sometimes. Let me see here. Audrey Teschner says, Evening Squad family moderators just finished myself up at home, just very tired, hoping all is well. Well, yeah, aside from the obvious, of course, but of course, we are very much in our thoughts about the Sussexes, as well as obviously the rest of the family. But oh, what's that, Black Queen? 109. She had dementia. Oh, your grandmother lived until 109. Wow, wow. Well, they said that the first person that lives to 150 has already been born. So that is one of the things that. Let me take a look at this one. By the way, thank you, Black Queen. This photo right here, I thought was absolutely haunting. And when they released this photo, I was like, oh dear God, it looks so biblical, like the four horses of the apocalypse or whatever. And I was just like, how in the world did they why? Not how, but why. I mean, I know how, but why? That's my question, is why would you allow something like that? I thought this was absolutely horrendous. Okay. But yeah, and that's just my opinion. But the symbol of the white horse, it just looked very haunting to me. So I was very surprised by that one. But it's as though, as they've been saying, it's as though they have been preparing us for this moment. They have been preparing us. So, and now it has happened. Like even that photo with Liz Truss, I think in some way that was preparation. I understand the line of succession, Anastasia, Isabella. Oh, however, they are grandkids when reporting that family has gathered, not official business, but family member dying, no mention. Okay, let me see, you're right. But the palace staff are too draconian to set their feelings of importance. Anyone not looking like them is an intruder to them. Okay, let me see here. Speaking of which, I was thinking about these people right here, in particular, Edward Young, who is center of this photo right here. The so-called men in gray, who are employees of the Crown and are members of RAVEC. Let me see, RAVEC. It should be RAVEC with the C, right? And this is a tweet from some time ago. They decided that Harry and his family didn't deserve security. Yes. Now, I'm hoping that some of this stuff has been ironed out because, as you know, Harry has called them out and quite publicly. And I would, I think that no matter how you slice it, there would obviously have been an uptick in security. It wasn't very obvious like it was in Germany, but it would, I understand when, we have this idea that they tend to do whatever they want to do and they don't have any regards for what anybody thinks. I get that. However, I will say that I'm just hopeful because I am a very optimistic person. I'm hoping that they would have yielded to public pressure and considered how not only impractical, but, not to mention embarrassing, but that it would be very detrimental if they would allow anything to happen to the Sussexes whilst visiting the United Kingdom. So I hope they ironed that out. I really do. And whatever anybody thinks about them, I totally get that. But I hope they have ironed that out because it is good for the Sussexes, number one. And it just makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. There's enough tragedy in this world without something avoidable. So again, I say if Harry is there, if Harry felt it was okay to come and visit, then obviously they worked something out. Maybe they got logistics. Maybe, maybe his people were, given more access to what they needed to protect him. I don't know. So let's, and also in particular at this time, seeing that the Queen has passed away, then there is a blanket of protection that I would imagine would come because now this is a matter of state. This isn't just the Sussexes going to Wellchild. This is not just the Sussexes going to One Young World, but now this is a matter of state. And Harry does have a position as a constitutional position in that country. So one should consider that. Again, you guys, at the top of the chat, there is a link if you guys want to talk this out. You certainly have the opportunity to do that. It's up to you. I'm going to go back over to the Sky News. I was trying to get BBC, but I don't know which one would link me to that.
So widely held.
Rhiannon, many thanks, Rhiannon Mills.
But basically, I'm just trying to figure out I do want to know where Harry is. I do want to know where Harry is. When all is said and done, my primary concern is his safety and that he's where he needs to be. So I'm looking to see if there's any word of where Harry is, and that I don't see. Hello, Louisa?
Hi, Baron.
Hello. Can you turn your sound down? I can hear a little echo in the background.
Okay,
Hello? Do you have an earpiece?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So anyway, please tell us what's on your mind.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So anyway, please tell us what's on your mind.
I'm just so very glad for Harry that he's around when this happened. I'm just so very glad for Harry that he's.
Louisa, you're gonna have to turn that sound down. You can't listen on delay. There's too much of a lag there.
Yeah,
See?
I don't know how to do that. Let me see.
Yeah. If you have an earpiece, that would be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. All right, let me come out and then I'll come back in. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, I appreciate her trying though. Okay, here, Ann Washington says, when Philip died, I knew she would live much longer, but the one that is left being usually follows right after. Yeah, Ann Washington, that is so true. But the Queen was ill before Philip died, and you know, I don't want to get into the speculations. It's related to her age, but I think that that she had a bad heart. I really do believe she had a bad heart. Uh, Janine Bell. Hello, Janine Bell. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Please tell us what's on your mind today.
It's so sad that she's gone, but
Yes,
I just hope that Harry is already there.
yes, absolutely.
They probably won't show him, or he'll go. If there's a back way in, he'll probably go in the back way.
Yes.
But Prince Charles rang Harry and told him that he needed to get there. So I wouldn't be
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't already there, and
Yeah.
that you won't see him arriving.
Yeah, and you know, earlier today they were saying that Harry was on that unmarked plane that went up there, and then it turns out it was, you know, the Cambridges. Well, actually, the Duke of Cambridge, and the Wessexes, and of course Andrew, and not actually Harry and Meghan, which is what the press had announced. But you know, and then I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to be petty. I hope they didn't have Harry take a train up there. I really hope that he didn't have to take the train.
I
That would
would
be
say his security would have driven him there.
okay, and that's 500 miles.
Mm.
That's 500 miles. So again, I hope that he wouldn't have to have been driven or have taken a train up there. But if that were the case, oh man, I'm trying to be as civil as possible, but that would very much frustrate me if he was required to take a train and even worse drive up there. So I'm not even gonna let my mind go there at this moment. But I did give that some thought in that they made such a public thing about the others arriving by plane. But yeah, I don't want to believe that they left him to his own wits to get up there, and that, you know, in this moment that they would have you know, provided some transportation.
He might have even gone up yesterday because he had a spare day. And I would say he might have even gone up then because he was so close to his grandmother that I wouldn't think that he would go to England and not visit her.
You know, and that was what I considered yesterday too. When I found out that they had a spare day, I said to myself, okay, this is first of all, the very sad look that he had whilst visiting Manchester and Dusseldorf. I said, okay, there must have been a reason for that. And then, of course, followed by having the spare day. And I'm like, okay, if there's going to be a time when he's going to probably see his grandmother for the last time, he would likely go today. So I that was my thoughts, is that he would have probably have traveled up there like that. So either way, I didn't think that there was a possibility that he would not have taken the opportunity to see his grandmother when he could, and especially, as you say, being so close, why wouldn't he? So that was my thought.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that he would have been there no matter what.
Absolutely.
And earlier on, I saw some photos of just like white vans and stuff going in. How do we know that he wasn't in one of those vans?
Right. There were there were vehicles that were traveling through the gate, and they weren't sure who was inside. And likely one of the black vans, maybe they wouldn't have given him access to one of the Range Rovers or something. But yeah, it's a very good chance that he may have. And the weather is awful up there today. It is very overcast and rainy, so I wouldn't suspect that anybody would use a helicopter on a day like today. So unless it was an emergency, I just couldn't see them putting anybody on a helicopter. So yeah, that would be probably not a good idea. So, but yeah, I hope he did make it. And again, like you said, they had the off day yesterday, and that was an opportunity for a lot of things to happen, including perhaps maybe he spoke to his neighbors, and surely there would have been people trying to broker some type of conversation, especially considering that the Queen was, at that point. So, and it's like right now, just looking at, the Queen has died, it just seems so surreal to me, because she looked so timeless in the same silhouette that she's had for probably going on 40 years or more, that you just don't really consider that would ever happen, and yet it has. So
but she looks so thin.
Yeah.
You look at that photo of, you had a photo before of two photos of it, the current photo and a photo before, and she looks so thin, and she's got obviously something wrong with her. She just, as well as she's past, old age,
right.
she has got, there must be something wrong with her, because she's so thin, and so she looks so unwell. It doesn't even look like her.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, when she was with Liz Truss, I looked at how hollow she looked around the neck and everything, and also the very large and very dark. She's had the bruising for some time, but that it was so much greater. And then they went through the trouble to make sure that the photo was very grainy, And so, considering the monumental moment where the Queen is meeting her likely last prime minister, you would have assumed that they would have had, photos that were clear or whatever, but they weren't. So I was like, okay, that doesn't look good. And so my thoughts went back and forth between Harry's facial expressions as well as the Queen's appearance. And I was just doing the math in my head, like, okay, if he's going to see his grandmother, now is the time, because there may not be another opportunity. So, you know, like I said, I could only do the math in my head, and we're older people. We've seen this before. You know, we've seen this before, and we know what it looks like and the timing and stuff. So yeah, all of that combined, and I was just like, okay, something is likely to happen soon, and I hope that Harry and Meghan are, you know, prepared for it, because I again, my only concern is really for them. The rest of them, you know, is just respect, but for the Sussexes, it's respect and deep concern, if not worry.
That's true.
So,
and also they couldn't have Harry being seen arriving before William and the rest of her children.
oh, you know what? Absolutely, absolutely. You're so right about that. Oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that, but you're so right about that.
Yeah, because, you know, he had a spare day. You can't tell me he's going to go and see his grandmother. So if he might have already been there when they arrived, and they wouldn't want, you know, Harry to be there before William.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're so right about that. And oh, okay, I do finally see a picture of Harry in one of the vehicles, and I think this is from today. I'll share that with you guys very soon, but I do see a picture of Harry, probably at the gates of Balmoral. And it does seem like a very recent photo. So I'm gathering some stuff to share with you guys as I'm speaking. I hope you don't mind, but
well, I'll let you go. I'll let you go, because you obviously got other people who want to have something to say.
Okay.
And
I do thank you for stopping by. Oh, actually, Janine, I don't have anybody else. I think someone chimed in and dropped back out again. If you guys are interested in speaking today, please, the link is up at the top of the chat. I'd appreciate hearing some other perspectives. Janine Bell, you have been extremely informative, and thank you so much, because I hadn't even considered that, but you have earned your supper today. Thank you so much.
It's morning here.
Oh, okay. Where are you?
I'm in Perth, in Australia.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It's 2:20 in the morning.
So it's already the next day.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
All right. God love you. Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to look at some of your comments. Let's see. Speculating when we don't have concrete info, one way or the other can be maddening. My condolences to Harry, Meghan, and the others. We knew he adores his grandmother. So sad. Oh, Colleen, thank you so much for saying that. That is bang on, as they would say. Bang on. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so yeah, I do have a couple photos to share with you guys. So let me cue that up quickly. And okay, yeah, I got some other information here. Let me grab this one. It didn't take long, obviously, as a lot of these news agencies were likely prepared already for the event. So I got that one. Let me see here. Oh man, and I do thank you guys for stopping in today. I greatly appreciate this. And okay, so let me move some stuff over so I can get this up and discuss it, and we'll take it from there. Again, the Queen has passed away today, officially Central Time, Central Standard Time. I think it was what was it 12:30? 1:30? Oh, 12:30, obviously. Yeah, it was about 12:30 our time. So I'm gonna say it was probably 6:30 their time. And that was at Balmoral Castle up in Scotland. The Queen did not go to the Highland Games. Charles went in her place, and it was one of those things on the calendar or in her diary that she simply did not miss, which of course gave pause and alarm to so many people. But because the Queen has been around for so long, we almost forget that, like the rest of us, she is quite mortal, and today she was called home. So let me do this. Let me do this. And then I'm going to look at some of your comments as we discuss. Okay, this one. Wow. I tell you, this is very surreal. This is very surreal. Not exactly what I was expecting of the day at all. That's all I can say is just wow. It's like one of those conversations that you cannot believe that you're having, and yet it is happening. So let's see here. God's Child says, "Hi, Baron. All may the Queen rest in peace. She waited for Harry and Meghan to protect them from the media abuse. 20 years ago at Bible College, we were told in confidence the Queen was a born-again, tongue-speaking Christian, and so is Sophie." That's interesting. I haven't heard that. Wow. Well, thank you so much for the super chat, God's Child, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex, as well as being a member. I'm gonna have to look into that. I hadn't heard that before, but that is interesting, and I am here to learn. So, you guys, I'm having trouble getting my new slide open, so I'm going to shift over. I'm going to open up another screen as I have done before. As you know, that tends to lead to a bit of an echo. Okay, I just opened up another screen. Hopefully I can work out my situation with my slides that seems to have been stuck. Yeah, I think they give you like so much time to be on this thing, and then it starts acting a bit weird, but I think that is sorted out now, and I'm pretty sure you all can hear me. Let me go back to the slides I had earlier today. There we go. So this one. Okay, there we have it. And again, you guys, I'm going to put the link up for the chat if you guys would like to tell us your thoughts about today, some of your fond memories, if you will, of the Queen and the Sussexes, or perhaps just the Queen. There's no reason why you can't share that. All right, so this was the last photo that we had of the Queen with Liz Truss. There was like maybe 3 or 4 of those still photos. From what I could tell, the Queen, even though she's smiling, which is a good thing, I was not comfortable with her appearance. And when you try to zoom into it, it seemed like her eyes were rather dark and glassy. And so I'm like, okay, she is alive, but just, and you know, and yeah, I know, Miss Via saying her hand looks awful, even worse than I've ever seen it before. And so I was very much concerned that the end was nearing. and I just didn't want to express my thoughts publicly that Harry was likely told that the Queen had was near the end. I didn't want to say what I was thinking at the time. Okay, I see. Is it Magaganza? I can see you, but it says your device is not connected. Okay, and also Colleen Nelson, I can see you here, but it also say your device is not connected. So maybe go out and come back in. I don't know if there's any way I can bring you guys in. So I did put the link there. Let me make sure I post the link to the top of the chat. Okay. Okay. Let me make sure I post the link to that recent link that I used. I just used a recent link, so just make sure you guys have the right link. I'm pinning it at the top of the chat now. So yes, try that link that's at the top of the chat, and perhaps you can read that. Oh man, Novara Media. I love Novara Media. Let's see this picture. She has lost a lot of weight and looks just like she had collapsed on herself. Yeah, it as I said, she looks very hollowed, you know, more so than I recall. And so obviously the Queen was trending toward, you know, the end of her life, and Harry was likely aware of that. I cannot help but think that Harry was aware how imminent things had become, and that that would explain the you know, the faraway look that he had in his eyes at that time. And that's what I noticed.
King or queen in the
is
queen's
that
stead.
is that Harry had a bit of a faraway look in his eyes during the time in Manchester, and also in Dusseldorf. Okay. All right, Colleen, again, I could see you there. But I'm just, let me see. It says they will need to connect their mic and cam. You can add them to the stream. So yeah, your microphone, at the very least, you have to make sure that your mic is connected. Oh, hi, Mama Jane. Hello, Zigao. Let's see. Judy Rigo, hello. Berta Sanchez. Aura Restrepo, hello. Connie Balmer. Beach and Pow, hi. Okay, just glad she had time with Archie and Lily. Audrey Teschner, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad. And the name Lilibet does live on with the great grandkids, great grandchild. Yes, Karen, I set the you know what? Let me go back and check it again, but I set it back to a month ago. But I will go and check again just to make sure, because we definitely don't want the nonsense today. So let me just make sure that I have that set properly, because we can never, ever be too safe. Oh man, you guys, not exactly what I was expecting today. Yes, I have it set for a month ago, and it is subscribers only, but I can go back a little further. Let me see. I mean, do we have any trolls, or are you just asking? I'm going to leave it like it is at a month. Let me see. Subscribers only, 1 month. Yeah, I'll leave it like that. Okay. All right, you guys. Again, not exactly where I thought today was headed. I was hoping for some beautiful images from the whale child. As you know, one of my guilty pleasures in life is just simply seeing the Sussex, as I like to say. Oh, there you go, you guys. I'm so sorry I was holding back. That was taken, I suppose, at the gates of Balmoral. As you can see, Harry was not in the mood to be photographed, but that appears to be the Duke of Sussex entering the gates at Balmoral. And, because of the day that we're having, I am sharing this with you because okay. All right. All right. Yeah, give me a second here. I'll do this for a second until oh man. It's okay. Colleen, thank you so much for trying. I appreciate it. Oh man, I just had a surge of emotion there for a second because I got to take this off the screen. All right, that's better. Give me a second, you guys. I don't know. I was thinking about Harry just now. Okay. I'll put this on for a second.
House. It's several paragraphs long. He says Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II was more than a monarch. She defined an era. Queen Elizabeth II was a stateswoman of unmatched dignity and constancy who deepened the bedrock alliance between the U.S. and the United Kingdom. She helped to make our relationship special. He then goes on to talk about the first time he met the Queen, and it was in 1982 when traveling to the UK as a part of a Senate delegation. And he adds that we were honored that she extended her hospitality to us in June 2021 during our first overseas trip as President and First Lady, where she charmed.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about Harry for a second, and that got the better of me. So what you see on the screen right there, I'm going to enlarge it so I can see it myself, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so according to this press release, the nation in mourning, and I'll go through these just in, oh, thank you, Anastasia, I appreciate that. The first person outside Buckingham Palace to be told is the Prime Minister. The royal household issues an official notification delivering the news to the public. Flags across Whitehall are lowered to half-mast. And then it says Prince Charles delivers a broadcast to the nation at 6 p.m., which I guess that will happen tomorrow, right? Because it's already past 6 p.m. And then it says day 1, 10 a.m., the Accession Council convenes at St. James Palace and declares Charles as the new sovereign. At 3:30 p.m., the Prime Minister and the Cabinet hold an audience with the King. And then it says day 2, the Queen's body is returned to Buckingham Palace and her coffin placed in the throne room. And then day 3, King Charles begins a tour of the 4 nations of the United Kingdom, starting with visit to Parliament, where members of Parliament give a motion of condolence. And day 4, Charles arrives in Northern Ireland to receive another motion of condolence. In London, a rehearsal takes place for the procession of the Queen's coffin from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey. Day 5, the coffin leaves Buckingham Palace and is carried to Westminster Hall. Let's see. Day 6 to 9, the Queen lies in state. Oh, good God, 9 days. Days 6 to 9, the Queen lies in state for 3 days. Her coffin sits on a raised box known as a catafalque. What's that? A caliphate? Catafalque. In the middle of the hall, which is open to the public for 23 hours a day. The Queen's funeral is a day of national mourning, but not an official bank holiday. The state funeral is held at Westminster Abbey. There is a committal of service. There is a committal service at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. The Queen is then buried in the castle King George VI Memorial Chapel. Actually, I have some photos of that I will share with you guys. It took some digging, trust me when I say this. I can only find a couple of places where those photos actually exist, but I did find it, and I will share those with you. Let me see. Oh, let me see. MSNBC has to get respectful. Meghan is an American citizen. Stop with the disrespectful talking about Harry's book, etc., like they are family. Oh, I don't know what that was in reference to, but I hope they're not being messy. Let me see. Yeah, but oh boy, I can't help but worry about Harry right now. Oh, really? Which paper is that? Oh man. Let's see. Thank you, Betty. Oh, I'm sorry, but when I looked at Harry, that just destroys me. So, wow. Anyway, sorry about that, you guys. Let me see. Well, let me see here. Okay, yeah, I guess that was it. Those were the new things that I had posted there. And let me see. The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. The King and Queen Consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. Her Majesty the Queen, Britain's longest reigning monarch, has died peacefully at Balmoral, aged 96. Her son Charles is now king. He will remain at Balmoral tonight before returning to London with the Queen Consort Camilla. Okay. All right. I am going to oh my God, is she really? Okay, respectful day, respectful day. Good God. Well, I tell you, it wouldn't be complete, would it? It would not be complete. And you know what? You know what? Maybe in a pinch, they just, she probably was shopping around and offered her services and they just took her up on it. I don't know that they really have anybody else anyway that would be available. So at this point, like it or not, you're going to see them all over the place. Oh, really? Why? I thought she was going to stay on for a while, but I mean, that's cool. I appreciate it. But okay. I know kids endure. Apparently, that seems to be the situation. Oh man! And just when just when you thought it couldn't get more bizarre, then you find out the likes of her. Oh God! Oh oh oh. Well, thanks for telling me because I don't know what the shock would have done to me. Having to find out another way. So I appreciate that. Oh, 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 yeah. But yeah, again, there's the link at the top if anybody has any thoughts or anything. Please do. Otherwise, I'm going to be here for a little while trying to gather my thoughts. Oh man, it's not exactly what I was expecting today, but then again, we know not the day, do we? And don't forget, you guys, the Queen's mother did live to be 101, and I thought for sure that she would better that, but when it's that time, it is that time, and that's all to it. Okay, this was my slides from earlier today. As you can see, that was what was going on this afternoon. So I'm going to say that probably overnight she took a turn for the worse, and then they began to gather people at the Balmoral, and and curiously enough, well, there you see the guard ceremony today, so that was an ominous sign if there were one. And then Prince Harry heads to Balmoral without Meghan. William and Monarch's immediate family gather at her bedside amid concerns for her health. And so, just in case you guys are just tuning in to how things unfolded this morning, was that we heard that the Queen was. The doctors said that she, needed to be monitored, in so many words, which obviously she was getting close to that time. And so they began to call people. They said Prince Charles was the first. Now, earlier, someone mentioned, oh gosh, I'm so sorry I forgot her name, but she did mention that it's likely Harry was not able to arrive before William, which let me see, 2 days after Diana's funeral on the 6th. Oh wow, that is something, isn't it? That is something. Oh, okay. Did not realize that. So yeah, and so there was a plane that traveled north, and I actually watched to try to see if I could make out who was exiting the plane, but it was William and oh gosh, let's see, it was William. Let me find that there. Oh, there it is. William's driving, Andrew is in the passenger seat, and then you have Edward and Sophie in the back seat. Now, this is part of a motorcade that that traveled from the airport. So, as far as I know, there was no one. There was no one in the car but just the four of them, and then of course the motorcade. And so, what was interesting is that they were saying that it was likely that the Sussexes were on that aircraft. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, why are they making this? Not that I'm surprised, but they made the morning more about Harry and Meghan than they made it about the rest of the family, which, we're not surprised, but we're kind of surprised by that. And then, of course, they started beaming out the photos of people, gathered near Buckingham Palace. And it really didn't seem to take long before the full court media set up their cameras around the Victoria Monument, which is the big monument in front of Buckingham Palace. And then, of course, I, along with everybody else watching the television, was trying to see if they lowered the flag. Well, the announcement seemed to have come before lowering the flag to half mast. So that is what happened this morning. There's, I believe, the last photo of Philip and the Queen together before, and that may have been Philip's 99th birthday. Philip didn't quite make it to 100, but that was like his 99th birthday. And Philip himself had had a long illness, and the Queen has been in and out of the hospital on a couple of occasions that I can think of, where Charles, I don't even think he went to, I don't think any of the family saw her. They just said, oh, she's going to stay in the hospital. Some of you guys may remember when the Queen was in the hospital, and they said, oh, she's going to stay in the hospital. And so, people thought that was strange. And then, of course, there was some people in the media that was like, angry about that. How could, why would you just mention that days later or whatever? And so, what is that, Marina? Kate is in Windsor. She was not in the car. Yeah, Kate did not go. They only mentioned that Meghan wasn't there, but like for every 10 times, I'm just going to go there. Every 10 times they mentioned that Meghan is not there, maybe one time they'll say that Kate also stayed behind. So that's how the morning went. It was as though it was Harry and Meghan and then the rest of the family, which, again, I'm not surprised, but oh man, that type of, I guess, fanatical regard for to put the Sussexes in every story is disturbing, because I'm only concerned about the potential backlash toward the Sussexes. That is where my concern is. Anything else, takes a back seat to that. But I just don't want the Sussexes to be placed in any like situations that that could cause them any type of anguish, mental or otherwise. Okay. Emerald only once. Yes, we are trying to be very respectful. We're going to lay down our sword and shields today. And first and foremost, out of respect for Prince Harry, because like it or not, the focus is going to be on the Sussex squad, because as you know, when people are in mourning, they are looking for someone to blame, right? And so whether that someone is a member of the family, meaning, of course, the Duchess of Sussex, or whether that someone is the Sussex squad, accusing us of whatever, we don't want to feed into that, because they'll be looking for that. They'll be looking for that, and they will make that odd side note to just throw in there. This is the gardens of Windsor Castle. Okay. President Biden pays tribute to the Queen. I see that just popped up. There's the men in gray. Edward Young, who was there to greet the new prime minister. And that is the last Buckingham Palace balcony appearance. So there won't be any more of those. Let me see. Joan Garcia, Baron, thanks for the late breaking news. I'm sure God will continue to smile on Harry, Meghan, and their family. Thank you so much for that, Joan Garcia. And by the way, Joan, I'm nearly out of coffee, if it means anything to you. Wink, wink. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be fine. But thank you. Thank you so much for the coffee you provided. Yes, I saw that Bernard Shaw passed away today. I saw that. Catherine Bryant says, I didn't think she would last a year. Most women don't when they've been married that long. She had a year and a half before she met him once again, just like my mom, who lasted 1 year and 3 days. Catherine Bryant, that is the way it seems to go, isn't it? Okay. Oh, thank you, Veronica. Okay, I'm scrolling here. So, as I promised, I will. Oh, and if you guys remember, these were the photos that first startled us. And if you notice, her hands do not look as bad as they appeared in that photo with Liz Truss. But I believe, and we've said this for some time, that these are likely the images that caused Harry to find himself incredibly concerned about who surrounded his grandmother, which of course makes sense. But yeah, if you all remember, these were the images that alarmed a lot of people. Her coat is not fastened properly. And then, of course, going out into the draft like that with her coat open was, again, an alarming to a lot of people that who's taking care of the Queen. So I don't know what happened that led up to this moment. I don't know what happened before Harry went over there, but I think some things were put right after Harry called people out on that. I'm just going to say that. I think some things may have been put right because of Harry's sounding of the alarm. And so whatever time the Queen had left, I'm sure she was better off because of Harry's intervention. I'm just saying. Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex and being a member of this channel. Because, well, there may be a lot of reasons for that Meghan didn't go. It may be a lot of reasons that, or not a lot of reasons, but just a few practical reasons why she didn't go. And still, we don't know if the children traveled with them on this trip. I mean, we don't know. And I'm pretty sure that given the situation, that Harry, just for whatever reason, I would have felt the same way. Okay, I'm going to be close to my grandmother. This may be the last opportunity to see her. By the way, this is the super fan, John, I think his name is Lowry or something like that. This is the guy that I met in the UK some time ago. And this guy is at every, and I do mean every royal event, birthdays and all that kind of stuff. He's always there. And then there's that kooky old lady that has the house full of the royal memorabilia. And then this person of African descent, he wears that dashing suit all the time. So these two people, I actually, I've seen the guy in the suit. I've seen him. He literally walked past me by Buckingham Palace, and the other guy, I spoke to him and took a photo with him. And you know, honestly, he's about as nutty as he looks, but he's nice. He's nice, but he's just a bit. He's a bit excessive with that stuff. But you know what? That's his kink, and I respect him for that. And but yeah, he's very loyal. Oh, oh. Well, okay. I'm not going to read that one out loud. I'll just say EU. But I'm looking at your comment, and wow. Well, there's always going to be that what do you call it? That conspiracy that will follow that visit, right? There will always be that conspiracy, but you know, it's going to be conspiracies abound. And I'm so glad that the Sussexes were there so that Harry could pay his respects properly and that he wasn't. I just would not want that talking point if it's avoidable. You know what I mean? I want the Sussexes to be where they need to be and where they're supposed to be, but I just wouldn't want that talking point unnecessarily at a time like this. And if you're a deranger or whatever, I'm just going to say my first concern is for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and their family. Full stop. That is my first concern. And of course, Mama Doria. That is my first concern. These people at this moment are my primary concern. Anybody else, you know, they can take a back seat to that. So this was the Queen at Phillips' funeral, already looking a bit frail. And at the time, they made a big fuss about the Queen seated alone. Now, if you notice the jewelry, I believe, I forget which, it's a star, obviously, and she's wearing the poppy over it. But I believe that piece of jewelry is associated with the Commonwealth. I do believe that's associated with the Commonwealth. And here's the image of Harry and his grandma. As you can see, even Westminster Abbey is not immune from some very ancient graffiti, where you can see outside the walls there that there have been some scratches on the wall of whatever messages. Not surprising. I mean, there's a lot of ancient places around there where people have scratched their messages. Karen Glenn says, hello, Baron. Do you think that King Charles III will name Archie and Lily Prince and Princess? Okay. You know what? I've almost forgotten about that, but I hope that he does. Now, I think that just like automatically Charles is named king, I would assume that that mechanism should just kick in. But there's always room for some pettiness. There's always room for some pettiness. So you just can't tell which direction that will go. Now, all things being equal, which of course they are not, that is supposed to happen, is that Princess Meghan is truly, and you just reminded me today, you know, not to sound like that, but today is the day that Meghan is supposed to become Princess Meghan, officially Princess Meghan. Or maybe there is some type of ancient declaration that needs to take place, but it's no longer supposed to be Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, or Princess Henry of Wales and such, it is supposed to be Princess Meghan. But again, there's always room for petty. But I nearly forgot about that. And I promise you, that's something that I have thought about every day for a long time is, Harry's birthright. And that is that his wife becomes a princess when his grandma goes to the other side, when she transitioned, when she has died. And so you just reminded me. Thank you so much for that. But that is supposed to happen. That is the conventional way things are supposed to happen. Thank you for your comment, Karen Glenn. Oh, and thank you for the super chat. That's for someone else. Let me see. I'm glad they were there, and I hope this means no more trips for them. Sending love to Harry and family. You could tell Harry and his grandma were very close. Julia Rock, yes, I'm glad they were there too. But in terms of this meaning no more trips for them, Harry wants his children to have a relation to his birthplace. He wants his children to know his place of birth. Harry is more into his birthright than I think a lot of people suspect he is. And because of that, I ask that we please respect his judgment where that's concerned. But he's earned his birthright. He's earned his role and his place in that family. It wasn't just a birthright. He's earned those positions more so than anybody else. Thank you for your comment. Let me see. Poetry is polite. Hello, poetry is polite.
Hello, Baron. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a lot. This is a whole lot. So I can't even imagine what Harry is thinking. I am saddened that he is there by himself. I really hope that Meghan does join him at some point because that is his support. And it is kind of, it feels like a repeat of his mother's passing where he was just left with his feelings and everyone just went about their day and he was just there like devastated. So I hope at some point Meghan does join him, and I hope that they stop talking about Meghan and focus on the Queen. If they continue to talk about Meghan and only Meghan in England, it just goes to show that they really are just lost in the sauce and confused, because you can't keep saying that Meghan and Harry are irrelevant and then continually talk about them. So this should all be about the Queen. And it's just sad here in America how they keep talking about, we fought a war to get rid of them. And now every channel is the Queen is gone. The Queen is gone. The Queen is gone. It's just like, what? I don't know. It's too much, really. It really is. I just hope that they lay her to rest and stop talking about it, but they're going to keep talking about it.
I have some thoughts about that. And that, of course, is that whatever we think, this is a historic moment. And because the media works the way it does, they are there to make money. At first, the news channels were supposed to do public service and inform. And then eventually they started selling commercials and they were like, hey, this is lit, right? And then of course, now we are cursed with the 24-hour news cycle. And then of course there's Entertainment Tonight and all the news shows like that, where if it's not anything to talk about, we'll create something. And so the Queen's passing is a historic moment that it should not be ignored. And yes, we did fight to leave all that. But for Americans, I think most Americans, the royal family is a novelty. We don't want it, but it's a novelty. It is a bit of a soap opera. It's got all the ingredients that you need to have another soap opera. And so for that reason, a lot of us pay attention. But it's very abstract for us. It's not, we weren't born into it. We just have always known of it. And I don't think, giving these few days to gaze towards something like this is going to make or break anybody in the United States. It's just really something to do. And then after that, everybody will move on as they should. And, there'll be that period where things seems almost normal, and then it will be normal. And that's that. So I totally agree that it should be covered, and that, this is going to be a state funeral of a monarch, as well as the eventual coronation, which will probably take place a year from now, and we won't see that again for probably a long time. So it's a once in a lifetime for most of us, and I, for one, whatever I felt I was going to watch, I wasn't, so into Phillips thing, but I want to watch this one because it is history. It is living history.
It is history. You're correct. It is history. I mean, even now they're already revising the Queen's existence, and it is just wild. They're just like, oh, she did so much. In my eyes, all she did was continue to hold the whip. I saw her as an overseer of the slaves, and she just made sure everyone was still doing what needed to be done to keep the monarchy where it was, and that was it. So
Okay.
It's just wild how now she's a modernizer. Interesting.
Well, you know what, poetry, what you say is very true, but we're going to maintain a certain amount of decorum today. I get what you're saying, and there's another time to have that conversation. But right now, we're focusing on the Sussexes, not, I can't say there's a lot that I know of that the Queen has done that was, so amazing. But I think the fact that she was in the position that long with little or no personal controversy is something that a lot of people respect. So again, we can have those conversations about that another time. And we have had those conversations up until probably today. And so we will have those conversations. But for now, we're really just focusing on the Sussexes, and the other stuff. We'll save that for another time. I get everything you're saying, and I don't know, how long you've been watching Royal Sussex, but we haven't strayed away from those conversations. But today is not the time for that.
No worries. I just pray that Harry gets to safety. I pray that he has a security with him and that they're able to go back to their children safely. I just hope that they get off that island safely and everything goes well for them. Thank you so much for my time, Baron. Have a good evening.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, let me go back to some of your comments there. Okay. Sending condolences to all the royal family. We in Canada has received the news, and the announcement was also in schools and our media. Baron, well, Daphne Gabrielle, I would suspect that it's pretty much going to dominate the headlines for quite some time. It will. It will. And I wouldn't have expected anything less. Now, when I read that it would be like about 9 days, I was like, okay, that seems a bit much, but totally understandable because, after all, this is going to be the state funeral like none other. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let me see. I don't take the U.S. news seriously anymore. They air shows make money providing entertainment and throw in a little news every so often. That's true, Joan Garcia. That's true. I don't like that the news has become a big money-making venture, but it is, and it's not going anywhere. But as you guys probably watched yesterday, the James O'Brien piece where James O'Brien spoke about Twitter and why so many people are disturbed over Twitter is because of the fact that they can't control the message on Twitter, and to a lesser extent, the other forms of social media platforms, but they just cannot control the message. They don't have the ability to filter out the message. Now they can, obviously take us to task over how we say things and certain words that are used, but basically the message, they have no control over that. And so it almost seems like the great equalizer. And if you guys remember, when the home computer was first created, they said that this will be the great equalizer, that it is going to bring the knowledge of the world into every home, and that there will be no way that certain messages or news or things like that could be hijacked. Well, as we found out, there was a way to infiltrate people's hearts and minds, and so they have done that. But Princess Diana didn't have social media. Meghan and Harry has social media, and we are going to do everything we can as squatties to make sure that they are protected. But again, we are going to be respectful today. Those conversations can be had at other times. We have had those conversations. We have not shied away from those conversations. I certainly haven't. And every day my eyes are open more and more. But today there is a grandson who is mourning his grandmother, and we have to be there for him. And the last thing we want to do is to become a distraction to take anything away from that. So let me see. BJ says, abstract is right word, Baron. Wondering how long will they expect Meghan to be seen as working, especially as she lives in America for the mourning period? I'm not sure. During this period, maybe goodwill will be offered, at least temporarily. But I'm being optimistic. I hope that there is a period of goodwill, and that, yes, people need to make amends or even apologize for certain things that have happened. But sometimes people can come together, and I hope that does happen, because I think it would be better for everybody involved. I don't want to wake up every day and have to fight the fight. I didn't want to be here now having to fight the fight. I was satisfied just watching Harry and Meghan go out and Sussex, as I always say. I like to watch the Sussexes Sussex. But then suddenly that changed, and I found myself having to defend them, not just on social media platforms, but to people who, I told you, I've lost a friend over the Sussexes, who told me that they aren't as popular as you think, and they need to go away for a while and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, huh? We still haven't spoken since that day. And that was the reason why there was already issues. I believe this person voted for Trump. Do I need to say anything else? I believe this African-American woman voted for Trump. So that being said, I don't really feel as though it's much of a loss, because I think that friendship was probably lost a long time ago. But still, this is someone I had regard and respect for. But, I'm just not going to watch anybody attack the Sussexes and say nothing about it. I can't. I'm too invested. And when they drove them from Narnia, I felt like something was taken away, not just from me, but from the world. But as they are thriving now, I feel a little differently, but I still don't feel good about the fact that happened, if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm here right now to protect the Sussexes, and that's just what I'm going to do. I've committed myself to that, so I'm going to do that. And this is something I'm doing voluntarily. Nobody's forcing me to do it. And despite what what's his name? I think we got contact, Colleen. That looks good.
Yes, finally.
I love it.
Finally.
How are you today?
Thank you. I am good. I love to stay in the background because I'm afraid of people on the internet. So I tend to stay at the back and listen to you almost every day.
Oh, I appreciate
I'm grateful I'm grateful that you have allowed me in today. I am a Jamaican living in Canada. And I remember, I think twice, the Queen has been to Jamaica since I can remember me being there, and we have all gone to this national stadium with our flags to see her and welcome her. So that has always been a part of us living in Jamaica, of seeing the Queen, and we are almost British. You are taught how to sit sideways just as you hear them say, and you wear dresses, and we were well British then.
Oh, Colleen, I'm sorry. It seems like your phone is kind of going in and out a bit. And right now it's just like completely. Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so this morning I had to go to the airport, and on my way back, I started hearing I just saw the Queen popping up everywhere, and I was saying to my son, something is wrong with the Queen. So when I switched to BBC instant, and I saw them in black, and I said, the Queen, I feel the Queen has died because they are wearing black. And I remember I always read where they said BBC would be the first to announce if the Queen is dead. They would be dressed in black. And I just felt they were just giving them time to put the program together. And then when I heard that Harry and Meghan were on their way, and then I heard that Meghan is not going, I said, Meghan doesn't need to go because. And then again, I was so hurt because the haters came out, and I'm saying, oh God, you really love and support the Queen. Why would you be so hateful today?
Exactly.
Allow the family to grieve. Give them space to. You could never love the Queen as you're saying, and you're coming out so hateful. And who knows? Maybe she had requested that her son and her grandson and her granddaughter-in-law be at her side. We don't know.
Right.
So why are you so hateful? Why is she there? And they're not going to go anywhere, so they just have to get used to it. And I know what it feels like. I remember I lost my eldest brother a few years ago, and his girlfriend side of the family gave us a hard time that we couldn't grieve, and it was like a year later, and it hit me so hard. I cried so much. So I know that you need to give them space and stop the hate. If you love the Queen as they're proposing, stop the hate. And in our society where we grew up, you do not, when someone has died, you're respectful. They have all the time in the world after the Queen is buried to hate if they want.
Right.
I should allow them today to grieve and be respectful. And thank you, Baron, for allowing me in your space today.
I appreciate you going through the effort. I know you had trouble getting in here. And I'm very, very grateful. And like you said, you stay in the background, but you stepped out of that, to join us today, and I'm appreciative because my heart is heavy, and I don't know. I started thinking about Harry, and it just kind of did me in for a second there. So I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you too for allowing me to speak today.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Okay, you guys, I am gathering. I am, Daphne Gabrielle.
Hey,
Oh,
hi,
there you go. Let
Darren.
me add you to the stream here. Hello.
How are you?
I heard your thing beep in, but you know what I'm doing? I'm gathering photos because I want to share some photos of the tomb that was built by the Queen's father. So I can still do that and talk to you. I appreciate you being here. How are you today?
I am good. You know, Baron, it's a very sad day. I'll tell you why. I came from Trinidad and Tobago. My parents were diplomats, and I gave flowers to the Queen when I was 6 with a bunch of girls.
Wow.
And it's such a sad moment. My whole body feels, I feel as though it's a part of the family because, we're all part of that human family, okay?
Right.
And there's a sense of her duty because I was growing up, when you're a diplomat's daughter, they tell you how important duty is. I spent time in Parliament when I was a little girl. So, watching her over the years and seeing how committed she was, it says something to me and my discipline in what I do here in Canada. It also lends a hand to when Harry and Meghan needed a place to run, they came to Canada. So I was really happy about that, And now I look back and I said, look at that. She was able to see Lilibet. She was able to see Archie again. And before she closed her eyes, and, God has been really good to her, And, when we as a people look back, and I want to say this to everybody, I do host a program in Canada. And I know we all have social media now and it's all over the place, but we have to be respectful of people. It doesn't matter who, you know what I mean? Let the haters hate, and we show that we have love in our hearts and just keep that up because love all conquers everything out there, It's a sad day, and my heart goes out to the family. My heart goes out to Harry especially, because I remember that little boy walking behind his mother's her casket. And today, in this situation, remember, he always says, remember the last time he was there recently, he said he thinks his grandmother was being abused. But I think it's because of her frailty. And that is what hurts me most, that, he's going to be there now trying to figure out what happened. And especially when they showed her hand a couple of days ago with that huge purple mark on it, that bruise on it, it speaks a lot of volumes of things of what could have happened, But other than that, we just have to be respectful, May she rest in peace. She really reigned well. She left a great legacy for her grandkids to follow, to understand. And for those who come into the family, they have to understand it is a legacy. When families have legacies, you have to stick to them. Because my family has a legacy, and we are all taught we have to go to school, we have to do this. I have grandkids. My youngest grand is 6 years old, and I impound it in him. It's, you have to get an education and understand this. It's a great big wide world out there, And I reminded him, my grandfather said to me, Daphne, life is a learning experience, and every day of your life you learn something new. He wrote it in my book, and I write it in every one of my grandchildren and my children's books over the many years. So now I'm 73, and I'm happy that I can look back and see her today and say, Harry and Meghan, I wish you all the best. My prayers are with you. I am a pastor, and I will keep you in real deep prayers because I know you guys would need it, especially Harry. It touched my heart. It just touched and Baron, I must say to you personally, you're a wonderful person. I don't know you, I've never met you, and I hope when you come to Canada for Invictus, we can all share a huge place together. Probably I'll arrange that for a number of us.
Oh, that would be really sweet. And thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I'm on. You can find me on what do you call it, Facebook. Just pull me up, send a message, and I'll get back to you on that, But let us be respectful of Her Majesty. She gave up her life very early for her father's sake. And she's 96. and she's just left this earth, you know, she deserves all the respect that we can ever give. All the respect.
Yeah, and you know, moving forward from today, we are definitely going to have the conversation about, you know, the I have no other way to put it, but the amount of disappointment that people have been feeling lately with the royal family. And it is an ongoing conversation, and we all have our individual feelings for particular reasons.
Yes.
And you know, for today, we're gonna to set those things aside.
Yes.
And you know, and when the time is right, we'll pick up the conversation again. But you know, respect is really called for in the moment, because again, it's as though we are representing the Sussexes because they want us to fall short and to be found wanting in our characters, if you will. And why give them that benefit, especially at a time like this? So that's why I think that respect is the best way to go. And then after a certain period of mourning, then we can, you know, evaluate how the Sussexes are being treated, and then we can, you know, get back in our feelings where we left off. That's the only way I can put it. But I'm monitoring. I'm paying attention.
I know. And you know what? I give you kudos for doing that, Lydia and all the other ladies and the guys who jump in and you know, cut people off. I said to myself, good job, because you know, sometimes some of us needs to vent, but we don't need to vent on every social media platform.
Exactly.
You know, because it's a great opportunity to have social media available, but we don't abuse it. You know, I am very much involved in human rights and stuff like that, and I don't like to see excessive abuse. We know what's going on with Meghan and Harry, and what we have to do is just push all the positive things forward for her, because when you ignore the negatives and you say, you know what, is that all you have to offer? Then you realize people back down, because there's nothing more. You only spread venom. Where's the goodness in your heart? People like those cannot think straight, because that venom is inside of them, and we don't know what their problems are, you know, when you look at it. So, you know, whether they're paid or they're not paid or whatever, just ignore them and just back Harry and Meghan up, you know, in the positive, and say, you know what, you guys are doing a great job. Look at Lilibet and look at Archie. Look how they're growing. You know, when Gran saw Harry, she was so ecstatic. She wasn't well, and she started, you know, becoming a rose again. You know, she had more strength. You know, so when you look at all these different attributes, you have to realize that it's the positives that really drives our lives, not the negatives. And you know, there are times for negatives, but let's keep the positive, because you know, Meghan and Harry are doing excellent things in this world. Excellent. They are such important. They are such, you know, influencers in this world. You cannot touch them. You just can't touch them. You know, they got that magic touch that nobody else has. And guess what? They are going to be needed by the royal family, believe you me, whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, but they're going to be needed. Take it from me.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. I came from that type of family. You know, I came from a wealthy family, and we have to understand.
For the Commonwealth and the young people, they don't have any, you know, bridge except for Meghan and Harry. So
exactly, that's their role model. That is their role model. You know, and people have to understand that they are the role model for the younger generations. And if they can't see that, then there's something wrong. I know the Middletons are having their own issues, and they think in a different way. But at the same time, they have to realize that the two women that came into the royal family are both quote unquote commoners in the eyes of, you know, the royal family. But at the same time, they are given what they have, and Meghan is giving her fair share and more. And we have to understand that, you know, let's back her for what she can do. She's articulate, she's well spoken, she has deliverables. There's so much I could say of Meghan, you know, but we leave it. We leave it post this, and we just mourn. Let us all mourn and just back Harry and Meghan and say, you know, we're with you. We're on each of us. There's 5 on one shoulder, 6 on the other shoulder. We're holding the children. We're holding Doria, you know, and let the tears flow, and let the family heal, and then we go from there. So that's my take. Anyway.
Oh, that was very well put. I greatly appreciate it, and I would say even the words that we needed to hear right now.
Yeah, you know, we have to
Definitely.
hear. You know, I think this is such. My granddaughter came home. She said, "Nana, you know that lady that you give flowers to, because they had pictures." She said, "Nana, she's gone. They announced it in schools. While you were talking about it, they were announcing it in the schools, you know." So because of Canada being part of the British Commonwealth, still, even though we don't use the Commonwealth, but we're still under that umbrella, the kids, they knew right away, you know, our media let it out. So, Baron, thanks again for the time. I really do appreciate it. You've given me an opportunity to say hi to everyone. And hi, everyone. It's nice seeing everybody when I look at all the names and I remember all of you. I'm really busy because I'm working with government boards now that I'm retired. So we are putting in grassroots policy and, you know, getting laws put changes and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at in retirement. I'm retired, but not fired.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. All right, I got some stuff that I'm going to share.
Okay, so Baron, thanks
and I
again.
hope you have a chance to watch it.
I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, you helped me gather my photos, so I appreciate that, and thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, because I'm switching from board meetings. That's why you only, I look like an avatar to you. I'm on another board meeting. Bye for now.
Okay,
and I'll take a look at the rest. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right, God bless. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, you guys, I am going to have to open up another screen because I realized that after I've been on the StreamYard for so long, so you're going to hear that weird echo, but I got some photos I want to share with you guys of the St. George Chapel. And this way you guys can see exactly what you can expect. And some of this is based obviously on Phillips' funeral. And anyway, there we go. Let me get rid of that one. Uh-oh. All right. So I'm going to get out of the echo. All right. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me. And let me get those slides up that I just gathered. You'll find that there's a lot of good information here. Okay. I told you guys a while ago, I probably have some 80,000 photos, and not all of them are well organized, and some of them I would say are not labeled properly, but sometimes I can find what I'm looking for if I can just figure out the month that I gathered the information. So here we go. That is where Prince Philip is right now. So in the lower level of St. George Chapel is not a church. It is a chapel. It is as big as a lot of churches you've ever seen, but it is a chapel, and it is like it is the official chapel or church of Westminster. I'm sorry, of Windsor Castle, right? So that is the chapel, Windsor Castle. So I will find you an exterior view of that that I can share right now. There's that one. Let's see if I have it here. And you also remember that chapel from the Sussex's wedding. It is not just a place of worship, but it's also a burial place. And it is where quite a few people, like for instance, looking at this photo, you can see that there are wreaths of floral wreaths on either side, mostly on the right side of this photo. Okay, there is Windsor Castle. Unfortunately, there's not a photo of St. George Chapel, which I believe would be on the other side of this garden, maybe. Yeah. No, I think it will be to the left of the garden. But anyway, it is the church from the Sussex's wedding day, right? So take a look here. This is basically the basement, but the burial vaults. And I believe all of that was excavated by George III, perhaps. And there is Philip, who was born at Windsor Castle. He was literally born there. And what's so haunting about this photo is the fact that Philip posed for this photo in this long hallway. I forgot what you call this gallery, but past those doors at the other end is where he was born. So there's a little symbolism here. Oh, thank you, Daphne. I'm I'm glad to share the information. It was something I was very curious about. Is Arnold Saunders on today? Arnold, I hope you are. Oh, there you are. I see Arnold. Arnold, I hope you're feeling better. I know you had a little health setback. Now, take a look there. So again, over here, left and right, those are vaults. They are gated. And here you could actually see one side of the gates, one side of the room. And those are people, including, I believe, Queen Charlotte is entombed here. And so, yeah, basically they excavated that area beneath the church and they created these vaults because before that they were, buried on the main floor of the church, but you only just had so much room. And so they had to create those vaults. And so here is the nave and the choir of the St. George Chapel. And so that red square where they say lift to vault, this is where Philip's coffin was lowered into the floor of the St. George Chapel, right? And if I can go back here, you can see this, I believe it's like a stone slab, for lack of a better word. It's like a stone, it's stone. It's a platform. And that is where they may have someone waiting until they go into a vault or something like that. So basically, this image is perhaps the Queen's father, but this is exactly what, if you went into that vault today, you would see that that is where Philip is right there. And you can see there's a, at the end of the line of vaults there, you can see that there's actually a, what do you call it? Oh, I'm such a heathen. What do you call it? Where they can pray down there. There's a little prayer station. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what to call it, but there's a little prayer, a place of prayer down there. Yeah, so they can actually hold prayers down there. And then here you can see that mechanism. So the upper part, you can see where Philip, as they were doing those, they were calling out all of his honors. And as that happened, the coffin was slowly lowered. Well, this is something that was built in Victorian times where they would lower the coffin and then they would put it on that little rack that you see on the right side of that elevator. And then they would roll it over to here. And that is where Philip is waiting to be buried at the same time the Queen is buried. So Philip has not actually been interred yet. He is still here, in the center of all of the vaults that are left and right. Okay, and then it's hard to make this out, but it's just more of the same information. It gives you a three-dimensional image of what the chapel looks like. And so the crypt is for 10 kings, his mother, and Princess Margaret. And oh my gosh, I can't even see that myself. I would have to make that larger. But you can see some of the people that are interred there. So it is, something that is not seen by the public. There are no public tours of that area, and likely there won't ever be. But that is where they have people permanently. Some of them will never get a vault of their own. They will just be pretty much on the shelf for all eternity if all things go well. Yeah, that is the way that's set up. So I got some more to share with you. I'm just I want to enlarge this photo so I can see exactly what it says. So there is Henry VI, who died in 1471, Edward the Fourth, who died in 1483, Henry VIII. Yes, Henry VIII is also buried at the St. George Chapel, not in that big vault. He's someplace else, but he's there. George III, George IV, William the Fourth, Edward the Seventh, George V, the Queen's father, George VI, and Princess Alice was there, but eventually she was moved to Mount Olive in Jerusalem, which was her wish, was that she would be moved to Jerusalem. God's Child, thank you so much for the super chat. The Queen impacted my life positively years ago. We had a racist prime minister who was pro-Europe and white. The Queen fought the people of color Commonwealth in South Africa. It was an open secret the Queen and his racist PM didn't get on. Well, I heard some time ago that the Queen was one of the people who put pressure on Margaret Thatcher because the Queen actually loved Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, I once heard, was the only person who was not a family member that was allowed to call her Lilibeth. I've heard that years ago, and I do mean some years ago, that Nelson Mandela was like this big hero to the Queen. I mean, she, whatever her shortcomings, that was one person that the Queen was, spiritually devoted to, was Nelson Mandela. Thank you so much for your comment, Godchild, and I appreciate you having a membership and watching Royal Sussex. Okay, so here's another view of the vaults. This, I believe, was when they were first created. So it's not a photo, it is an illustration. And as you can see, at that time, they didn't actually use those shelves. They basically just left the coffins right there in the center of the room. And this very light stone that you see there, this is the side of St. George Chapel that you never see. I'm telling you, I had to really dig to find these photos. This is actually part of a film from when that chapel first opened. Now, I'm not saying that you can't see it from the outside, but if you are visiting Windsor Castle, you as the public won't see this. This is on the far side of the chapel. So where the main steps are, those are not for public use. When you visit the chapel, as I did, those steps are only meant for the sovereign and the family, and their guests if there's a big event. But otherwise, they're usually closed. But there's a side entrance that most people use. So this is how it looks modern time. I think this photo was from as recently as the 60s. It is like an appendage that was attached to the main building. There were some people who hated it. So let me just step away from this so I can give you a better idea of where it looks, where it's located. Okay, this is it. You see on the upper part there where it says Queen Philip will be laid to rest together here. That is that chapel that I just showed you. That, see how it was just attached to the building? That is the chapel. And then on the opposite side of that, which means you'd have to go all the way down, you can see that entrance that is used by most of the public that visits. There's an entrance there, and then there's another entrance. So you go around in a circle and back out again, or in a big U, and you're back out again. So, and then you can see where there's the nave. Well, the nave, half of, like about a third of the church, you can't even see it in this illustration. But if you went all the way left, there is more of the building there. There's a couple of burials there of different people. I don't remember the names. And then here, on the right side, where you see that dark rectangle there, the red square, and then that leads through that passage, and that is that chamber that was excavated. So that's that part that is like grayed out or darkened. That is what leads to this area. So that is where that is located. So this is attached to the building, and it was built by the Queen's father, or built for the Queen's father. And so that is where the Queen's father, see there, George VI, Elizabeth, that's the Queen's mother. And then also, you see that granite slab leaning up against the wall there? That is also inside of that little chapel. Well, that is a grave marker for Margaret. And you can barely see it because on the left side, it says the Princess Margaret, Countess of Snowdon, etc., etc. She is the only royal that was cremated. She did not want to be buried as a whole, complete, body. She was cremated. So they actually added her to her, mother and father's. So under that big granite slab, that is where the Queen's parents are. Now, eventually, that is where the Queen and Philip will go. So as you can see, the lower part of that granite slab, there is obviously room for other names. And so those other names are likely to be the Queen and Philip. And so once the Queen is, has had her funeral and everything, they will ready this to receive both the Queen and Philip's remains. And there's a long view of the chapel, and you can see this is from Philip's, the day of Philip's funeral. And again, you can, the steps are on the upper part of the picture there, or to Philip's shoulder there. That's where the steps are. And then all the way closer to where it says the east right there, beneath that part of the building is where those boats are. But you could also see there where it says George V Memorial Chapel, buried in his naval finery. So that is how Philip was interred, and how he was dressed. And then they're going to eventually bury him with the Queen. And so it's not a very large monument or anything like that, There's nothing ostentatious about it. It is, you know, as things go. It is. Oh, thank you, Connie Balmer. I was very curious about this myself. Okay, and so this is another illustration of the vaults. Again, you can see in the very center of the room, that is where they have laid some of those caskets or coffins. And then eventually they are, you know, they added the iron gates and they would go inside on those shelves. It's not very big. It's not very big. And I think in the future, as space becomes limited, they will probably excavate the floors or whatever to make more room. But you guys would be amazed that so many of those royal burials around Europe, they don't actually bury anybody. They basically go inside of a vault like you see on television. I mean, well, like you see in these illustrations. Now, this is Grace Jones. I know, but trust me when I say this. Her name is Grace Jones. Grace Jones lived to be, I think, 106. I think she lived to be 106. And so when I used to tell people that don't be surprised if the Queen does not live until, you know, well past 100, don't be surprised. It was because of this lady, because I thought, you know, if this Grace Jones can live that long, then surely the Queen, with all of her primary care and everything, surely she will live. Oh, I'm sorry. Grace lived to 112. Britain's oldest person died at the age of 112 at her home in Worcestershire. Let me see. That was back in 2019. So she died the summer just before the pandemic, and her name is Grace Jones. And I thought for sure if Grace Jones could live to 112, the Queen could probably live longer than that, but it wasn't meant to be. Let me see. Okay, so that was it. I just wanted to share those with you guys so that you would know what was coming. And also, again, this is the St. George Chapel. Those coins, those giant coins that you see back there, those are silhouettes of the Queen's mother and father. And then there's one, that granite slab, that is for Princess Margaret. And I do believe that beneath that granite slab, there is a vault not nearly as big as the other vault that I showed you, but there is a vault beneath that, and that is where the Queen and Philip will go. So they will obviously lift that slab out of place. And this was something that was planned years ago, that the Queen knew that she wanted to be with her father and her mother, and Philip would be there also. And so that is what they will prepare for that day. Okay, again, one last time, this is the outside view. And you guys, I promise you, I had to do much digging to find these images, because there aren't that many photos publicly available from the other side of the St. George Chapel. And so because I was curious, I was like, well, what does the outside look like? And so I had to dig and dig and dig until I could find it. And then I found that. And not to worry, I did that myself. Sorry, you guys, I accidentally hit the arrow button. But yeah, so I did a bunch of digging until I could find it, and I did, and it was very interesting. So I thought I would share that with you. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, and that was what it. I think they dedicated that back in the early 60s. There's a video where the Queen tours the chapel. And again, some people, that were more into the history of the building did not like the idea that they were adding that vault or that chapel to the exterior of the St. George Chapel, but they did. And now it's very much a part of the building. Okay, you guys, let me see here. I'm going to go and take a look at the fail. I did see some more photos of Harry, but I'm not going to share those. They're just too heartbreaking. And I've already had my one moment for the day, so I'm not going to do that to myself again. But, but he does seem to be, very, very much in deep mourning right now. So, oh, wow, you guys, not exactly what I thought was going to happen today. I just wanted to talk about oh, dear God, I see they're making him a feature, and I hate that. But, guys, be prepared. It is going to be the news for the next probably 10 days. It is going to be news for the next 10 days. So it is going to play out the way it plays out. And again, I would advise everybody to be as respectful as possible until such time. And then, we'll see. We will hold the media accountable for the way they treat the Sussexes, that's for sure. But other than that, that's interesting. There's a rainbow that appeared over Buckingham Palace and over Windsor Castle. Isn't that something? Appears a rainbow over the palace and Windsor Castle. Interesting. So the link is still up there if anybody wants to talk. But other than that, I may just call it for now. I can see a lot of people have already stepped away. Yeah, Paula Myers, death come when it comes. Let me see. I appreciate you sharing all the photos, Baron. I hope you share more the closer we get to the funeral. They help put things in perspective for me. Oh, Sharon Jones, I'm glad you said that. I was hoping that that people would be receptive to them. So yeah, thank you for that. Let me see. Did you know that Queen Elizabeth was? Oh yeah. Definitely. Queen Elizabeth and Philip are cousins, and so was Franklin Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt's last name was never anything but Roosevelt. So yeah, I was aware of that, but thank you for sharing. Yeah, they were both connected to Queen Victoria. Yeah, both of them are blood relatives because of Queen Victoria. Let me see. Being buried in the church is so sacred. No one is worthy to be laid to rest there. Well, Anna Espinosa, it was kind of a trade-off in ancient times. To help get a church built in the first place, you needed wealthy people then, just like you need wealthy people now. And so one of the things that was guaranteed to those families was that they would have a primary position being buried within the church, as well as some of the the saints and images of the kings and saints and stuff like that, or whatever. Some of the biblical images were actually the images of the families that helped build the church, if that doesn't sound weird. But that is their way. As you know, they say that Westminster Abbey is like one big gigantic cemetery. I mean, if you've ever been to Westminster Abbey, There's no place you can turn. There's not somebody buried somewhere. Okay. Minute listening to the White House spokesperson. Oh, okay, Betty. Appreciate that. All right, I'm scrolling back a little bit, you guys. But if nobody else has anything else that they want to share, I'm going to take a break for now. I think I'll come back later. Gosh, I've been on for what, 3 hours? Saw Faye recently doing real work. In my heart, believed that she knew that our faves were going to be all right and was comfortable in going in peace. Yes. As someone pointed out, it seems like she waited until Harry, until the Sussexes were there. And yeah, it seems like she waited. Just so happens that the Sussexes were there at that time. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, HL sent me a Cash App. I appreciate that. I won't say your name, but thank you so much for that. And then there's a list from Sherry Ware, which I appreciate. Let me find that list of people who donated for the Royal Sussex today. Oh, thank you so much. Kim Fields, Audrey Teschner, and God's Child, thank you. Let me see, Joan Garcia, and Elaine Parker, Karen Glenn, Veronica, and oh, God's Child again. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, you guys. Thank you all for being here. I had a moment earlier and you guys were there for me, and I appreciate that. And I think I'll be okay as long as I don't spend too much time looking at Harry's grief. And, you know, that seems to be what triggers me today is whatever Harry's going through. So that definitely, oh boy. So yeah, you guys pray for the Sussexes, please, because they need it. Right now things are kind of quiet, but you know that may not last for long enough in my taste. So let's just make sure that we and that we're being respectful for them, you know, if for no other reason, but we got to be respectful for the Sussexes, and also because it's just good form on a day like today. We don't want to be that person. Yeah, I know, Sean. This is the Commonwealth has lost the Queen. The Queen had lost half the Commonwealth because of that other situation. Let me see here. Oh yes, thank you, Cookies and Cream. Okay, and Lydia says, Baron God, please. Baron God has Prince Harry continue to keep the Sussexes in prayer. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Lydia. Thank you, Mod Squad, for taking care of business today. We definitely needed that. Taking care of business. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go. If anything comes up later or whatever, oh, let me see. I got a couple of private messages that I missed. Oh, okay, I got that. I see it. Okay, thank you for that. You know, I wonder how many times I got private messages and didn't even notice that they were there. I'm telling you, there's a lot going on with the. Oh, and by the way, I owe an apology for yesterday. I thought someone was a troll, and they certainly were not a troll. And you guys tried to warn me about something. So, Katrina Ogard, I do apologize. And if you guys see Katrina Ogard in any of the chats, please tell her I want to apologize for thinking that she was a troll. She was trying to warn me. As a matter of fact, a few people were trying to warn me about that T-shirt that that troll person had on. And I don't know, I guess my mind would not accept that that type of evil existed. And I'm sorry.
Me.
Yes, now I can. You know, I totally missed that. I did. It's been a day, so forgive me. And let me finish my apology to Katerina Ogard. So if you guys see her in any of the chats, please tell her I apologize for thinking that she was a troll. She was trying to warn me that that T-shirt that lady had on was supposed to be Meghan at Uvalde, Texas. And as there's so much going on with the comments and chats and everything during the lives, I totally could not process that yesterday, but now I have a better understanding. So again, Katerina Ogard, I do apologize. And yes, I hope you accept. All right, I'm Valerie.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry. I'm
Yes, I was
all over the
listening
place
to your
today.
thing. Yes, I'm from the UK, and it's been a very strange, to be honest, I felt that it's been a strange week. I have to say, right, that I started, I don't know why, I felt I should start praying. And I started praying, you know, I'm fasting anyway, so I started praying since on Monday. So it's almost like sometimes when you know something's going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen. So now with the death of Elizabeth, I don't feel. I know everybody feels shocked, and I don't feel shocked. It's almost like I was prepared, and I felt that when she saw Liz Truss, I realized that she looked really awful. If you see the bruising on her hands and on her fingers, and I realized, you know what, this is not a good look. And then when you hear that the doctors said that she's resting and she's, you know, they're very concerned. That was the end. And so that's why they went up to see her. I hope and pray that Harry and his wife, Meghan, they can keep their nerve, and I hope they can continue to live in California. I really don't want them to be involved in England at all, for I feel that the relationship between Charles and his son, William, you're going to really see fireworks, because although Charles has waited long for this job, William wants this job too. And I hope and pray that we can have a brand new because of this. We can have a brand new government. We get rid of this government. We get a brand new government. We change the political system, and I hope that Charles is the last king, because I feel that this issue about I was born first and you can't do anything better than me, you can't marry, and it's just ridiculous. And all it does, it causes a lot of tension, and it destroys your family. And I think it's not worth it in the end, because William looks a very troubled person, and he's got 3 children. And if George doesn't do what he wants to do, or George doesn't be the person, and Charlotte is very thing, they're going to do everything to dampen down Charlotte or dampen down Louis. And it's just all it is, a lot of toxicity. Although it's sad that she died. She has been blessed with a very long life. She saw her children getting married. She has got grandchildren and saw her great grandchildren. And that is most of a lot of us, because my parents were born the same time where she was born. They were both born in 1925 and 1926. And my mother died when she was 72, and my dad died when she was 90, nearly 91. So their health wasn't brilliant. Where she has been lucky. She's got good health. She lived a long life. And in England, over 250,000 people died of COVID. A lot of them were old, a lot of them, and they didn't get to see what she saw. So although, yes, we do, it is sad, but I hope that we can really as a country pick ourselves up and realize where our priorities lie.
Yeah, I agree with you. Um, the the whole thing about like the system of the monarchy and everything, because we know so much more, it's not that we are just being critical, but
No, it's
seeing those
horrible.
children during the Jubilee, I I could barely watch it. You know, certain parts of it, yeah, it was wacky seeing the one kid, you know, perform, but George broke my heart. And that system that upholds that type of stuff, I hope that there is some real change. Not for the sake of my criticism, or not just for Harry and Meghan, but for everybody involved. These are modern times, and I believe that this should be the end of the road for that kind of system. But you know, at this time, it's going to be like a sore point for a lot of people, and I do get that. But like I said, there will be definitely conversations that are being had, and over after the period of mourning, people are going to reevaluate how things progress in the future. I know that a lot of the Commonwealth countries are likely to do that. And as long as the Sussexes are not hurt in any kind of way, as long as they leave them alone, as far as I'm concerned, you know, you could have the system, but I don't think that that is best for the system to go on the way
No.
that it does.
I think when you read history and you read about this way, like for instance, okay, we're living in modern times now. Just imagine if Harry was living in like the time of the Tudors, and just because he married who he married, his brother would have got set a war against him. And if he didn't like, even if he ran away even if he went to another country and was living quietly, he would have sent an assassin to kill him and his wife and his children. And it's that same assassin mentality. I mean, like for instance, they tried to Meghan, they tried to send her mad. And then when she asked for help, they did everything to try and almost obliterate her, because he mustn't marry her. And it's this insane behavior. And what is insane, and this is very, very bad, is that you're blaming Meghan for the Queen's death. The Queen the Queen got COVID. That man, I can't remember his name, was a fantastic jazz pianist. And I think it's Harry Elliott, or I can't remember his name was, but he played the piano during COVID time. He died at the age of 91 from COVID complications. The Queen got COVID and she died. And I don't know why they said blaming her for someone's death. It's ridiculous. She was going to die.
Valerie, I understand, but before we go any further with that, we are in a period of mourning. We will fight these fights another time, but for now, let's just focus on the Sussexes and the here and now. We can have that discussion later on, but today is not the day for it. And as for that part of how it happened or whatever, the Queen has been ailing for quite some time. I believe that she had heart trouble,
Really?
given the bruises and stuff like that, and she was probably on a lot of pain thinners and blood thinners and such. So she's been sick for some time, and she had that unexplained night in the hospital. So I don't want to put any blame and stuff like that on anybody. We'll have those conversations, and I know you're upset for the Sussexes, but we will have those conversations, and I want you to be a part of those conversations.
To be honest, her reign was interesting because, like, for instance, when my parents came over, like, for instance, my dad had a book in 1953 when she started her reign, and Hillary, and showed all the different things she had. And when she was young, she and her husband, they were a stunning couple. So her reign, and one of the things we have to say, we've known her for a long time. In our lifetime, we don't know anybody but her. So her reign was a long time. I mean, like, for instance, she had a lot of, there was a lot of political change, a lot of, the country changed, the diversity of the country changed. And, and I think that it's a passing of an era, but I hope and I pray that Charles, regardless of his shortcomings, he may turn out to be a very good king. I think he is. He's thoughtful, and I think he will turn out to be a good king. And I hope he will,
Yeah, he's a romantic by nature, which, some people are very dismissive. Romantics are dreamers, and, they have made him out to be the buffoon for quite some time. And I can see why. I'm not saying I agree that he is or isn't, but I can see why. But we just won't know. He was confined by the system in so many ways. I mean, in some respects, he had complete reign of the system. And then in other ways, he was also still confined by that system. And as long as, people could weaponize the Queen's age against anybody, then, you just didn't want to be on the wrong side of that. But we just won't know. And so my big test is the title for the Duchess of Sussex and the title for the children. I don't care what else they do, well, with an exception, but as long as those parts of Harry's birthright is important to him, otherwise it would not have been part of any conversation. But because it is important to him, and because he deserves it, and he wants to share that and whatever protections come with that with his family, then, and it may not be just financial protection, it may not be physical. We don't know what's in the will. We won't know. We probably won't ever know. We don't know what was in Phillips' will, but maybe part of that is attached to their position in the family and to their titles. Whatever it is, I want Harry to have what is Harry's. And I don't want that taken away from him. I don't want to see him shucked and jived out of it or anything like that. It has to be agreed upon by both Meghan and Harry what is best for their family. And so whatever, hurt or pain or whatever we're feeling, we have to consider their position and what their expectations are, and then work our way out from there.
Yes, because I know that, like, for instance, when they know they're going, they sort of have a will, they write a will, what are your wishes, what is his last wishes. And I mean, I know he had a special relationship with his grandmother, and apparently he was, she used to speak to him about everything. And I know that he was very close to his grandparents, because he spent a lot of time with them. Him and Meghan spent a lot of time with them. And I think where things started picking was, do you remember when the Queen went on tour with Meghan?
Right.
And then Meghan was talking to her, and the Queen was giggling, and they were saying that she was like a schoolgirl. I think that's where things started to fall down. And then when they went on that tour to Australia,
Right. Well, Valerie, we have Jacqueline is here. Jacqueline, would you like to share with us right now? How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So basically what I wanted to say is that we're Jamaicans. My father's 100 this past February. So all of his life, he's known of the Queen, right? And in some ways, I feel that because the Queen has been around so long, and I hope no one takes it the wrong way, she became somewhat of a hindrance to progress, right? Because people felt that, well, we don't want to do this because we don't want to disrespect the Queen.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to do this because it's against the Queen, because she really was not a modern person. I don't have strong ties to the Queen. I really got involved with the royals because of Meghan and Harry. But from what I could see, I don't see the Queen as somebody who was progressive. And
Okay,
because
and
she
Jacqueline, let me say this. I understand what you're saying, but as we are in a period of mourning right now, whether or not we feel it personally, it is for Harry, and we will have those conversations at some point. And I respect you expressing your feelings about that. And this is something I felt exactly that there's been a hindrance to progress and stuff like that. I totally get where you're coming from. And after this period of mourning, I will love to have those conversations, but I just don't want to go so deep into it today. But yes, if you've been watching Royal Sussex for any amount of time, you know where our sentiments are with that sort of thing, and we will have those conversations. But I just don't want to go so deep into it today with the what happened and what was wrong and everything, because the history is well known, and even though I'm not in a Commonwealth country, I certainly know enough of it to know that it has been, and that's why I've said earlier, weaponizing the Queen's age, and they have done that way too many times. And this may be the dawn of a very progressive period where the royal family may be able to stay, but we will
yeah.
see.
So no, I don't say it as a criticism of her at all. It's not meant to criticize her, but to just say that with her passing and just by the fact that she's been around so long, that people will feel it, even if you didn't, no matter how you felt about her, is just because she's been on the world stage so long, you will feel it.
Yeah.
Because she has been around, because you've
Right.
known of her, because her name
Yeah,
has
we
been there.
have.
So it's not really meant as a criticism, but just to get to the point is that um, with her passing comes now transition. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
changes now come in with her passing, and from my point of view, I feel that as long as the Sussexes come out of it fine, they are
Mm-hmm.
really my priority at this moment.
Yes.
Thank
It's
you.
obvious that Harry cared for her, loved her, regardless of how anybody else felt, and so and I think Meghan supports him in that. So yeah, and I mean, she passed on. Rest in peace, condolences, and all that. No criticism of her in of her, but there, I think that we have to expect that this is going to bring about changes.
Right.
Um,
And the only
some we
reason
may
why
like and some we may not.
the only
You
reason
know,
why I intervened is just that I just wanted to make sure that myself included, that we're all choosing our words carefully, because I don't want what we say here to be used against the Sussexes.
Yes,
Understood,
understood. Understood.
understood.
Yeah.
No, no way. I mean, like I said, she's 96. My father's 100. You know, being Jamaican, we have a lot of British ties, but this
Yes.
lady has been around a long
Long
time. And
time.
to be honest with you, whenever somebody said Queen, I automatically thought of her. I honestly didn't know other European countries had queens or kings. I literally thought only of the Queen. So she is she's an iconic figure in that respect. So whenever
She's the
people
queen. She's not just a queen, she's the queen to many countries that don't even have any royal families. She is just the queen.
so when so I'm just saying that when people of that stature, when they pass on, um you have to expect a lot of changes. That's all I'm saying. And I guess we have to wait and see. But my priority
Is
is Meghan and Harry and their
yes,
children.
and the
I
children.
How are
appreciate
they
that.
gonna come? How are they gonna come out of this? You know, how are the people that are in power?
Is
Um, in the royal family, how's that going to be done? I also want to say that in terms of timing, a lot of things, with just Harry and Meghan being there in the country was great. Harry and
yeah.
Meghan doing one world was fantastic. Harry and Meghan going to Germany and having that wonderful reception, another fantastic. Meghan's podcast doing so well, another fantastic. So
Fantastic.
they're in a good position. I feel that
But
Harry and Meghan are in a good position.
Can I please hit? You know what? I'm sorry. Are you still Valerie? You were going to say
Yes,
something.
I'm still there. I'm still there.
Yes,
I
go,
agree
you
with
go first,
I
and
agree
then
with
I'll say
everything.
what I want to say.
Yeah, I agree with everything what Jacqueline says because my parents came from Guyana, which was it used to be British Guyana until 1963 or 64, 70. I can't remember when they became independent. But the Queen has always been there, and he used to watch, like for instance, when she had the last Jubilee, he watched it. And although he admired the Queen, he still was critical. Say my parents were still critical of the system. But then having said so, we like for instance, as I said, I don't want any, I don't, when I saying what I'm saying, I'm not criticizing, and I understand exactly because there are lots of ears and eyes, one hoping to say, and I'm thinking, and we are being very disrespectful. We are being very respectful of the Queen. She has been there for a long time, and as and even as and there is a saying, all of us are going to have to meet our maker, whether we're rich, we're poor, we're black, we're white, whatever. We are going to meet our maker, and we are going to have to give an account of our what the choices we've made. And that's why sometimes maybe it's a shock for a lot of people, because sometimes people don't believe people are going to die. Although they know they get old, and then when they die, it gives you a joy to say, you know what, this will happen to all of us. 3 things we're going to have to face. Some of us will give birth. Some of us will we all have to pay taxes, and we all will die. That's the truth. Even kings will die.
Well, what I was going to add to what Jacqueline said is, oh, wait a minute. Did I lose it? You know what? I lost it. It came back, and I think that doggone sometimers, I think I done lost it again. It was something that you had said. What did you say before Jacqueline? What did you say before Valerie?
About the amount of death.
Before that.
No, I said that some of us, the problem sometimes is because she's been there for so long, some people don't believe that she was going to die. So that when she died, and because she has died, it's given all of us a notice that we will all have to go down that road. And some people, they like to deny, and I said we will all have to meet our maker, and we will all have to give an account of all the choices we have made from our life experience. And that's another thing. Sometimes a lot of people become extremely angry.
Yep, that still didn't do it though. I can't remember what I was thinking. It was there, and then it wasn't, and then it came back, and then it left me again. But I didn't want to interrupt Valerie again, so I just thought I'd roll with it. But sorry, y'all. I had it and I lost it. I'm a baby boomer. What could I say? I got a bad case of sometimers. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. This is one where I should have said something in the moment, because I knew. I was like, ooh, I lost it, and I lost it. So anyway, but yeah, oh man, what was it? You had said something, and I'm just like, that reminds me of, I know what it was, where you were saying, you were listing the places and things that the Sussexes has done. And you know what? There are so many times that with Harry and Meghan, it always seems to be God's timing, as they say, not the appointed time, but the anointed time, and that they would be there now, where it would remove any extra added burden of them being so far away, when they wouldn't accept the half in, half out. And so without the half in, half out, they were able to go and build a life separate from the family and thrive at it. So I believe that just like those other occasions when it seemed to be something so much greater than we could have conceived of, that from this point, I feel good about, there's going to be like the I guess the media, the tabloid media, they're going to slowly inch their way into trying to blame the Sussexes, obviously. But until that point, and then after that point, they're going to do just fine. I'm not afraid of the future for them, because I think God guides their decisions, and even their enemies, it guides them, and I'm talking
Yes,
about
it does.
within the household, to push back against them so that it creates more opportunity, so it opened doors for them. So I feel good about their prospects either way, whether there is a bridge built at this point or not. They're going to be okay. Harry's going to be okay. He has a family now.
It's just like Pharaoh, isn't it? Remember how Pharaoh was very stubborn, and in the end, what happened? He lost everything. Remember?
Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
it's the same sort of it's the same thing, same way, like for instance the gatekeepers. Remember with Elijah, and when they were in a famine in the land, and when they said God will open the windows of heaven, and he said, do you think God will open? He said, yes, he will, but you won't see it. And as it is, gatekeepers leave, isn't it? They hold on, they leave, because you know when you change the door, you get new gates, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's what what I was trying to say in terms of, you know how they say you want to do something from a position of strength.
Right.
I think that Meghan and Harry are in a position of strength, and
They
I
are.
say that because globally, Meghan's podcast was global, and she pushed back on some of the notions that people had about her through the podcast. When she went to Germany, people saw her there. So,
My God.
you know, the media will do what the media will do
They
for
do.
revenues, but the household itself, they will know that they have to tread lightly with them. They
Have
will
to.
know that. And that's important. That's important to how the household deals with them and deals with Meghan. And I think that, you know, God's timing is wonderful. And in terms of when this could have happened, no good time for people to pass away. I'm not saying that, but you know, I feel good also about Meghan and Harry. They have shown that they can make their own money. They have shown that they can survive. They have a home base. They have Montecito to go back when this is over. You know, so they, you know, I'm praying for them. You know, this is deep mourning for Harry, definitely, because his relationships with other royals are not so good, and sometimes when you're isolated in that way from the other mourners, it can be difficult. But you know, he has a home base, he has other things going on, he has his own family, he has his children. So you know, after the media, you know, I think they're going to be fine. You know, I think they're really going to be fine. So I'm thankful to God for that, and they're my priority, and I'm going to keep praying for them, you know.
Yes,
because
me too.
yeah, I thank you for having me anyway. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Oh, I thank you both, and I you know, I'm being super cautious today, and I know that might be a bit jarring, but I want to make sure that nothing, you know, as I said before, that we say or do is going to reflect on them.
Exactly.
And so I have been very, very cautious today, and I appreciate you guys respecting that.
All right, take care now. Bye-bye.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you. I appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me as well. Thank you.
I appreciate it, and thank you so much. And you are very wise. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. So you guys, I was going to actually sign off in a bit. See that Pedal of Facts and Two Cents is on. Let me throw her link up here. So if you guys want to go over there, and let's see, and I think Duchess of Success will be on again later. And depending on how things go, I may actually either, I don't know, maybe work on, I think I'll wait for the arrangements and everything before I do anything else with those slides that I showed you guys earlier. And so from that point, I'm just going to leave that alone for now. There is Pedal's link, and I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. And thank you all so much for your comments. Thank you for your donations. And thank you for having your patience. Oh, is it Guyana Independence Day today? Or Guyana Independence? Is it today? Is that Guyanese Independence? Let me see. Oh, you know what? Before I forget something else, let me peg that chat while I'm thinking about it. Let me see here. So pedal is on, and wait, yes, okay. So let me. Well, anyway, y'all can see it there, but I'm gonna pin it anyway. So there it is. Okay, it's at the top of the chat. So if you guys can go up there and click on that link, that will take you over to pedal. And out of respect, I am not going to play Ginger Binge today. And yeah, we'll just slide out of here discreetly like that. I really, really appreciate y'all being here. And let me see. Hi, Deborah Anderson. Okay. Oh, I know what I was looking for. I got to scroll back a bit for that. Thank you, Leslie Ollerhead, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And I think that was the only other one that was added since I read the list. So I think we're good with that. All right. So any last words, any last comments anybody would like to make? And prayers for the Sussexes or even for the Queen is welcome if you have them. But if not, I'm going to go over to, I'm going to make some lunch and listen to pedal. And then I'm going to finish cussing out my pharmacy because they are holding out on me. Let me see. Okay. Let me see here. Exquisite Caribbean Queen. Oh, I'm looking at your picture. I think you're right about that. Glad they left when they did to build a life in 2 years. They are now in position of strength. Baron, I love this diaspora mix here. Woohoo! All right. Well, thank you so much, Exquisite Caribbean Queen. And I love balance, and you guys bring that to me. Hello, Claire Kane. Oh, well, Claire, yeah, been on for almost 4 hours now, but anyway, we're glad you're here. And anyway, you guys, Claire has a channel, Claire Kane, and she makes some very high quality videos, better than I did when I started my channel. I could assure you of that. I was too cheap to like get anything, you know. I would like, even now I still make my own thumbnails. So if you want to see some quality, well-made videos on a new channel, you definitely want to check out Claire Kane. She has just crossed over that 1,000 mark, and with good reason, I might add. Let me see. Okay, Patty says, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth. Bye, everyone. Bye, Baron. Thank you so much for being here, Patty. Let me see. Okay. And Veronica Jade 20 says, prayers for Prince Harry's family in that dangerous racist nest of vipers. Well, that was keeping it very... Thank you for that. Thank you for the lovely prayer. Let's see, anybody else? Let me see here. Edna Richardson says, I'm glad I made the chat because I needed my squatties. Edna, we are glad you are here. Let me see, who else? Thanks for the information. Oh, yeah. You're welcome, Rosanna Smith. Oh, yeah, Sean, what am I going to do with all that material now, right? What am I going to do with it? I guess I'm going to have to leave that behind as we are in a period of mourning, right? Deborah Anderson says, God had a plan. Oh, very true. Doreen Lovelock Barron, I did not see that. Let me see. Okay, rest in peace, Elizabeth Regina II. Absolutely. So Regina means queen and Rex means king, right? Is that Latin? Rex and Regina? Let me see here. Oh yeah, you know what I was just thinking? The song is no longer God Save the Queen, it is God Save the King. King Charles III. God Save the King. Allegedly shady Shannon. Are you really using that for your profile photo? I've seen that on so many memes before. Very cool. Let me see. Let me see if I can cue that up for let me see if I can do that. Let me see. Sorry for the flashing on the screen there, but something I'm trying to do. Yes, there we go. So we got that. Okay, yeah, I'll leave it there. So that'll be the last image that we leave for the Queen today. I hope Charles lives to be 96. I do too. Oh, I do too. Only because that other person is a bully. I don't think Charles does enough to protect the people in his life, but I see William as being a bit of a bully, and I can wait to, you know, a long time before I see him in that position. Okay. What am I trying to do here? Oh, I know. I got it here. So, oh, all right, you guys. For those of us that have stayed on, I am going to play this on the way out. I'm going to play this on the way out. You can probably guess what it is already, but or you can stick around and wait for the mystery to okay. Oh, there we go.